kind of those times. Yeah. Let's see, I'm popping out chat here so I can.
Underdark. Kick off the. Well, we had the Sunday night show that went very well. You know, Underdark week continues.
That was
like
a lot
Shark
of fun.
Week. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like Shark Week. So what other environment can we pull off next week?
I got one. It came to
Okay.
me. It came to me while so there was an impromptu and Mac. Hey, what's up, Erlanders? Big Mac was in on this. I know he's watching now, and a couple other people. There was just there were a couple people in the chat on Cannon Fire this afternoon.
Oh.
And it jumped into, we had about a dozen on at one point. So it was just a big Grey Talk in the middle of the afternoon today for like an hour and a half.
Damn.
Yeah, so, yeah, that was really cool. And so I asked them for help. And, you know, not to sound like a jerk, but that didn't help me. So, so I didn't get, well, they came up with some ideas, but I can't do that, right? I can't do Spelljammer. I don't know anything about
Well, we
Spelljammer.
had get David on, and
David said he didn't know enough. So I was just like,
well, he's a Spelljammer.
yeah, but he says, I don't know enough about it. So then all of a sudden I'm thinking, what can I do that I haven't done in Gavin, but would be cool because there's a lot of published content. And I said, I got it. And then Gary said, you got to change the title because Twitch will never allow that title down on the stream, and he's right. So the title's going to be under the yellow sails. So and I want to call it History of the Slavers. Right, so we talk about the slavers from the A series, and later on, and maybe talk about some of the piracy Mike has, and see if he's got any slave trade, and right.
That's
So,
a good idea.
yeah. So there you go.
Good one.
All right, cool. And then on March 10th is so we only need a March 3rd. March 10th, everyone, is Gary's coming on for the whole show, and he's doing Gary's Isle Dread with a handout for everyone. PDF. So, yes. So looking forward to that. So I better start kicking this thing up here. So yeah, so we need a topic for March 3rd, and then we're good for the next 3 weeks. That shouldn't be too bad, right?
That's good.
We
Yeah.
should be able to figure something out. Oh, Planescape. I'm sorry, David. Yeah, that's right. You don't know nothing about Planescape. That's right. I know nothing about Spelljammer at all. At all. Whoops. There you go. I missed
never
the cue
played
there.
Spelljammer, so
Oh,
yeah.
man. Sorry about that. Yeah, you're right.
Actually
Hit another
played-
button, Jay. Hit another button. Hit this button.
I actually did Planescape. I never done Spelljammer.
Hey, Bobcat. What's up?
I've taken much inspiration from Planescape, and I've kind of used Sigil a bit, but I didn't go with all the campaign details and all the factions and all that kind of. That wasn't really appealing to me, so I kind of redesigned that bit. So
Yeah, I know what you mean. I enjoyed reading about it, but in
same here.
practice, I never used it.
Yeah.
I just wanted the
The environments and some of the NPCs, and I like the idea of a sigil city there, so to speak. I'm not sure the Lady of Pain and all that kind of. I'll see how much of that I want to incorporate, so to speak.
Calderon's on. Long Shot's on. All cranking up here tonight. Thank you.
I have some interesting plot ideas for a future campaign, though, so I can talk about that later in the show.
You always got to be plotting ahead, you know?
Oh yeah, I have, thanks to all the cool stuff and inspiration that comes on these shows, I've got lots of, but this one actually came up reading old Dragon articles, and it's, and I want to twist things that some viewers and some of you might think that is heresy, and some others might think it's interesting, so it's kind of, and you can give ideas that either like, oh, I never want to run anything like that, and that's a dumb idea too. And that's a cool thing, and I want to tweak or make use of it. So yeah. But it's not Underdark, so we take that in the later section. But it's interesting to read. I'm up to 105 now, I think, 108 or something. So yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, so there's some interesting, and there was an interesting article Gygax wrote about the second edition, his plans and ideas for second edition. Not much in detail, but there's interesting. I think it's like 101 or 102 or something like that of issues. And there's a short Gorge story in issue 100 that I also think is kind of interesting, mainly because it didn't age that well in some regards. So
100 is the issue with the
white dragon on the front.
White.
Yeah, with a nice cover.
I think so. Yeah. But there's some interesting, and there's some very interesting alignment articles. There's some wonderful ecologies back in the day that are really
Oh yeah. Ecology of the Gelatinous Cube, the Catapulibus, a whole bunch.
Yep.
That could be a good direction for a Legends Lord.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a whole bunch of monsters we can do ecologies and can talk about.
See, Big Mac, listen, House Kills, see, that may be in Sundered Empire, but in my world, remember, D3 is my Bible, right? So, we can discuss this. House Killsec is the second most powerful house in Arelheisen, you know, in the Vault of the Drought. House Killsec are Loth worshippers, so House Killsec is fighting House Eagle Serbs in my game. So the answer to that is no, because I wouldn't know anything about the Sundered Empire at all. So, yeah. So, but you can bring that up in chat because that's something I didn't even know about. I mean, I love that stuff. You know, all different alternate stuff where it came from and all that. What's up, Jason? What's that? Hey, Keith.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at Bob.
Yeah. 105.
I was going to say, I know I still got Dragon Magazine through 3rd edition.
Good question. Top 3 issues of Dragon. I would read Dragon, is it 60? It's green covered. It's got Lenz Lakofka's Archer in it. It's got a Great Giants in the Earth. It's got a whole bunch of really cool stuff. I think that's my all-timer, the one with Archer in it.
That would take too much research to answer that.
Yeah, for me, so far, and I read again from issue 1 to 108 or 6 or yeah, some almost 110. And for me, it was like mid-70s. There were Ed Greenwood wrote a couple of series of articles about hell. Those are really high up on yeah, exactly, the politics and the geography and stuff of hell, and those are really high up there for me. And then there's a couple of, one is that the I think Catherine Kerr wrote some articles about the army doesn't travel on its stomach. That is like in issue 90 or somewhere around there, and that one is a brilliant article too. And then there's some interesting ones about alignment and the take on how alignment has evolved from the very early beginnings of chainmail to ADD and how it is. That's a very interesting article that pointed out a lot of interesting things that we have been debating for decades, and that was one of the really good ones for us. And also Gary Gygax wrote in, I think it was issue 100, he wrote about the role of roles and roles, meaning roles with an E or a double L, and how he thinks that is too much roleplay in role-playing, and he wants the pendulum to sort of swing back to pure play and have this game, not so much theater and stuff. And that's a very interesting article, and that was back in 1985 it was written. So it was interesting to see that debate was already raging back then.
It'd be hard for me to pick a favorite Dragon magazines.
Yeah.
One of my biases are towards the cover art and the comics on the back. Not so much what's in between.
Yeah.
I think you can get Best of Dragon Volume 3 fairly easily, if it is on drive-through. shouldn't be
Yeah.
too hard to get a hold of that.
And I think you can get a lot of
3
PDFs,
is the best one.
back
the best
issue
ofs.
PDFs too. You can get a lot of back.
Yeah, that's what
issue.
he's asking for on Drive.
Yeah.
If it's on Drive Through RPG. But what's up, Enoch? That's the one. That's the one I would recommend. For best ofs is 3 by far. It's got all the races and all the deities and the archers in there too. The wing folks in there, which is it's cool. I actually used them back in the day. There's a smith, all sorts of NPC classes in there. A lot of them are Leonards. So yeah, I wouldn't have sold those, man. I'd get a hold of them and just wrap them up. There's a lot of old articles in 1 and 2. I think they're creating the liches in 1 or 2.
Yeah.
So
I think I haven't reached the ones that will be my favorites. They probably come in the third edition era. The ones I love the most. Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna come on a few minutes early here, 2 minutes, and no one's gonna yell at us for doing that. I don't think.
As long as you stay the time and more.
How's everyone doing this evening? I sound okay tonight? Everyone can hear me clearly? I didn't mess something up? I was thinking we didn't do Legends Lore last week, so that me getting 1 week, and it's amazing what you forget in a week, prep-wise and everything like that. So, hey, Fraley, what's going on? Happy birthday, Fraley. Was that today or yesterday? I saw that pop up on Facebook. So, it's one or the other. So if you have a lot of YouTube. Yeah, Mac, thanks. So we had an impromptu. Oh, there you go. Today, so everyone wish Fraley a happy birthday. It is
happy
today.
birthday. Yeah.
So we had an impromptu Greyhawk this afternoon, and it started with Josh and Zarathon and Jason Puppick that just talking about stuff for Len's adventure that ravages the mind, and then everyone just started coming in, and by the end there was like 12, 13 people. And so I normally don't do this, but I just hit 900 subs on YouTube, so that 1,000's a magic number because that's when
people have day jobs.
What's that?
So don't you people have jobs?
Yeah, I was already home, so yeah, exactly. It was a fun time in Great Chat today, and and you beat me by a couple weeks. Mine's March 8th, so I'm coming up too. But it was really cool, and we had some discussion on there about multiple topics. A lot of the stuff I don't know about. And one of them was what to do for an upcoming topic. And if we did Planescape or Spelljammer, that's even worse than doing Blackmoor. I know nothing at all about either of them.
Planescape, I have a little bit of an idea. Yeah, I have the books and I've read them through at least once, and I've used inspiration from them, so to speak. I haven't run them as intended, but I've kind of used them as a backdrop for my version of them. So, but Spelljammer, I hardly know nothing about Spelljammer, so I'm really a novice on that one. A complete novice. Yeah.
I know there was a cover of a dungeon that had that like cornucopia looking ship on it. It was all purple. I think that was a dungeon, which had a Spelljammer ship on it. I remember that, and I remember that was a huge Spelljammer or adventure in it. But that's all I remember. That is it. So I know we're getting people on still, and good evening, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to say a couple things first off, and that is lots going on, right? And if you notice, I've added a bar at the bottom here. I'm going to do it on all the streams, even though we haven't even started yet. We've already raised $625 for St. Jude, and that's fantastic. Before we've even started, I just want to say thank you to all those who have donated already. Thank you so very much. Really appreciate it. So it's great to see. Like I said, you can click on Underdark Uprising link beneath the screen here, and it takes you right to the Tiltify page, or that link right there, and I'll be putting that up. So that's cool, Mac. I didn't know Janelle Jackways did a couple of those. That's pretty neat. Like I said, I love Dark Tower, so that's like the number one Janelle Jackway piece of all time for me. So that's what's going on there with things. But tonight, so we want to talk about the Underdark from a Greyhawk perspective, or try to. So, Mike, what comes to your mind when you're like the Underdark and Greyhawk?
Well, unavoidably, the Vault of the Drow.
Okay. Unavoidably. Why do you say unavoidably?
Because if you didn't want to use Dark Elves, Vault of the Drow, then I would be hard pressed to find much else after that. You would really have to dig around, I think.
Really? Well, wait a minute. What about this right here? What about that? You don't have to dig.
Night below, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, this is on Anna's map, placed right. It's placed.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no drow on this, right?
I don't think there's a drow in Night Below, if I remember
No.
correctly. It's a bunch of other
Never
stuff.
owned it.
Aboleths and all sorts of other things. Mind flayers, right? Kohtelans.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any drow on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but okay. I mean, I said this 1,000 times. This is my Bible for Dark Elves. No Menzo Barons and nothing else, just D3. And so much so, you'll see some of well, I don't want to give away any hints, but you'll see some of this stuff pop up on Saturday night on the finale that's within that module.
I gotta clarify, Night Below is not Greyhawk specific.
No, but it's been
placed afterwards.
It's
yeah.
placed
Right,
specifically.
it's retroactive.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's placed where?
Yeomanry.
Southern Yeomanry. Yeah.
Which is close to
Sea Princes.
And Vault of the Drow.
Vault of the Drow. You see, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
it's that same location.
Okay, but it's I know it's
so
that was one of my comments is that
you already have Vault of the Drow.
That was one of my initial comments would be that almost all the Underdark that is published is from that region. So
that's what I'm
saying.
Yeah.
All right.
And then there's another big Underdark that is published for Greyhawk, but that was after Gary left the company that he published in this book. That is a huge Underdark story, probably some of the most Underdarky that has been written for Greyhawk specifically.
What book's that?
It's A Sea of Death in the Gorge series, where he goes and visits the albinos in this city that is forgotten, the old leftover of Sewell.
In the Sea of Dust.
Yeah, exactly. But it's called Sea of Death in this book, so it's Sea of Dust. So he's under there and discovering that those forgotten Sewells that turn albino, whatever they are originally, and they get taken prisoners and
so in the novelization, they're not left behind by Slaratin, they're left behind in the city.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's finding the old city. Yeah, it's not the Sleroni passage, but it's like 15 years since I read it last time. So my recollection is that it's actually the old city that they were in. That was, and then there are albinos that is kind of forgotten Sewell that have lived there so long that they kind of adapted to the Underdark environment, and they are capturing slaves and building and doing all sorts of stuff down there. And Gord and Leda, that is the clone of El Clevdra, are down there to as part of the story of finding their Theor part and stuff. So that's a part of the Greyhawk Underdark that Gary wrote himself. That is kind of interesting story. Yeah, story wise. Yeah.
I guess there are Dark Elves in Night. I don't think they're the main nemesis. Mind Flayers aren't even the main bad guy.
Yeah. I don't think there's any drow in this book except for El Clavdra and Leda that are drow in the book.
Pretty big.
But not not any drow culture or cities or anything like that, if I remember correctly. Yep.
Thanks, Dead Sky. Thank you. So tonight, as we ramp up, and I'm hey Amy. I'm going to say one little minor issue. Okay.
Yeah.
I may lose 1 to 2 streams because of the weather. We're monitoring it closely, but just please note,
Texas
and please, maybe say a little prayer for Frank and Ann at Nightheart Gaming. Yeah. They have had no heat, no water, nothing, and they're sitting in their kitchen wrapped up near a stove for the last 3 days. Okay, so yeah, So they're completely they're completely in the cold with nothing right now. So they're hanging in there, and just wanted to say yours just came on today. All right, well maybe there's good tidings. How about you and Duff? Hopefully Duff's. I don't know if Duff's went out or not. So I haven't heard from Jimmy. I guess we'll see if he's streaming. But they had a hot spot, and Frank sent me a message. So we'll figure out something if that happens. Don't worry about it. So but just we'll figure something out cool, or maybe have a smaller gap. I'll go on earlier. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, we figure out something.
Yeah, we'll figure out. Just keep them in your thoughts. All right.
Yep.
So yes, absolutely. I'm supposed to get snow tomorrow, all the northeast, but it shouldn't be that bad. Plus, we don't have electric heat. So, all right. So Gaetano Lafavi gave me a cool reference, and it's old that he did, and it uses Darlene's maps, but it's cool. He gave me and this is snipped. It's up right now, but I'm gonna put it over here too. All right, I'm just gonna blow it up. So he gave me kind of a starting point for, on his adventure maps, and I know we have one on Cannon Fire like this, but this kind of really shows the start of, some unbelievably classic adventures and where they're placed, in the world of Greyhawk, right? You got the G series, you got even Keeping the Borderlands, and you got this Sentinel and the Gauntlet on there. But you got exactly where these locations take place above ground and where they are in relation to below. 31 months, Naz. That's crazy. You are the man. So that is where those are the starting points for those, and it appears, I guess it's close, but if you were to look at those squares on there, are they 20 or 30? And I thought they were 30.
30 miles.
So yeah, Night Below is like 200 miles away from there, isn't it? I mean, that's a fair trek at least, right? If you're looking in Domery and it goes into the tours, but it's okay. So you have that map, and what I like also is he kind of connected it with this, and made an Underdark map that overlays where the hexes are. Right, I'll cover my own face. Over the hexes are on the map above, which I thought was really neat. So you have your locations of D1, D2, D3, and all the encounters, and the other locations. Now, I know, please asking if there are any connections from Rift Canyon to the Underdark. That's a good question. If there's any Rift Canyon to Underdark questions, we have to ask Casey that as well. I'll come back to this map. So, Anna, do we know of other locations of Underdark, connections? I mean, I have a couple.
That depends on, and that was one of the, I love to dig deep into definitions and stuff, and that means that what do we define as the Underdark? Meaning we have dungeons everywhere. We have mega dungeons. We have all sorts. Meaning there's dungeons and subterranean levels and various layers and God knows what spread out through. In almost every module has a dungeon in it. So what is the definition of Underdark contra the versus the normal standard kind of basement or something that we have in almost every adventure?
Yeah. So
Malden has a map.
Oh yeah, Malden has a great map,
a cutaway
on his
map.
website. Yes.
Right.
With depths. And just eyeballing it earlier today, I'd say in my opinion, 500 feet below, sea level and deeper would be Underdark. You gotta have to leave a little bit of room for, like Anna said, to be just basement level.
Yeah, for me, the definition of Underdark is when you are down there, meaning as long as you're a basement or you're part of a complex that has direct connections to the surface, then I don't see it as the Underdark. The Underdark is when you go so far down under that there are no escape hatch. You can't go straight back up again, so to speak. A basement, if there's like 10 basement levels, you can just climb up and go back to the stair and go back up. But Underdark to me is like when you're far down, so you're like, you literally don't have to be that far down. you can be inside a mountain, but you're far away from exits, and there's no way out. Meaning the environment, the kind of the dungeon environment, so to speak, is all there is. There is no way out. When you're in the adventure, you're trapped down there. You need to teleport to, if that works, to get out of it, so to speak. It's not a go up and down and then you go back to the village and do it again. That, to me, that's kind of the Underdark. Then you're so far down that the whole game session is going to be down there, whether you like it or not.
Now, to answer the question about the Rift Canyon,
Yeah.
I would say yes. The proof is in the glossography.
Yep.
Where it says that a copy of the guide World Greyhawk is found in Illithid's lair near there, I think.
Yeah, and it states that there are multiple kind of things, like it might even be abyssal connections and all sorts of stuff down in there, so to speak. So
something that deep has to be connected.
Yeah.
There's Grendelwolf. He's the one that made that map, and I know he'd be more than happy that others got it. So
one mile each.
Yep, he can give it to you directly as well if he's more comfortable with that too. So I have a couple set up, and see one on Saturday night.
Okay.
So that I've had in my campaign since for 30 years. So the Dwarf Kingdom near Greyhawk connects to it. So Graysmere, right? Yeah. Is it Graysmere, Dummerdan, or one of those? Yeah, absolutely. You're correct on Lavelle. I forget which one it is. I'm missing one. Dumadon, Caracast, or Graysmere. It's one of those three.
Right.
Yeah. So, yep, absolutely. Thanks, Redbeard. So everyone, tonight's giveaway is, and it's courtesy once again of our great friend Cannibal Eridar. We're going to give you at the end of the show. You have to be on $25 gift certificate to Troller Games Store, and also a $25 gift certificate to Kobold Press's store. So we got two of them. I got them in hand, got the code, so boom, you'll get them immediately. All right, so we'll do that at the end of the show. So hang in there for those, because they're good for even for Canada, right, Rich, and and for overseas too. So it says the drow are largely missing from Lake Beneath. Well, that's okay. If there's only two of them there, that's all right. From what I hear, everyone loves Night Below. Now, I just recently got the box set because I never ran it. I know Tim's running it. But, it's good to see a different direction for Underdark than just the winter, just the Dark Elves being the main antithesis. But, and a lot of people went a lot of different directions for their Underdark Uprising event, and that's okay. And kind of, Carlos kind of scoffed a little bit when I said the name of my adventure, which was The Machinations of Aklavdra, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't care, because I love Dark Elves. I love Dark Elves.
That's why you want to keep them for yourself.
Oh, I love Dark Elves. I love Driders. I love all that stuff.
They're cool. Yeah.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
Love it.
Yeah. So, and it's also one of Greyhawk's kind of gifts to fantasy, to general fantasy. They have escaped the D&D, and they have escaped first Greyhawk, and then they maybe even escaped D&D and become part of the general fantasy landscape now.
Print on demand strong when people buy the hardback version is easier to open. Well, that's a great point. So just getting back to this, you want this box set in this condition is an arm and a leg, and I mean 2 arms and 2 legs. Okay, just note that this is going to cost you a lot, especially a complete one. So
when did that come out? In
94.
The area of Sergeant material.
95.
So this was
pre from the ashes.
My dates. Pre from the ashes.
I believe so, right?
Okay.
I always get them all confused.
That must be one of the early works of Sergeant then.
Yeah. Hey Troy, yeah, it's tough to get a hold of. Yeah, dark gray skinned elves are now common fantasy. So go with if you want to go there on the PC, make them purplish or grayish skin, and then you don't have to worry, right?
I always painted mine purple.
Yeah,
in
you don't have to, and that's it only costs an arm. And that, yeah, and chopping the posters, that kind of stinks too. But yeah, it's really cool. I wanted to get it because I love the box sets on the shelf. I mean, I love the Wargame box. I didn't have it. You know, that stupid Tail of the Comet or Night of the Comet one. I should have gotten that when it was $20 because that thing's like a crazy amount too. Now that's not even that good, right? I still don't have that, but I'm trying to get all, you know, as many of them as I can just because. Drow should be albinos, so
There's
that's a.
some crazy radiation going on.
All right, so Casey, let's go to our friend Lloyd Metcalf, and real quick,
Yeah.
and he did. Thanks, Casey. Issue 2 of his Zine, The Everdark. If we remember when I had him on the show, I think I had him on Gavin about 9 months ago.
Yeah.
Dark elves are albinos, so
Yep.
there you go. So
I
got a signed copy. So yeah, it's Everdark elves are albinos in here. So if you can still get this. So if you're interested in what Lloyd, this is all old school. If you're interested in what Lloyd had to say about him, there's an entire little Zine. It's really cool. It has some monsters and some cities and some dungeons and all for his thing called the Everdark in here. So there you go. So great point, Casey.
Yeah, I talked about that in a previous Legends and Lore, probably a year or 2 years ago, one of the early ones. That in when I've run one really long, a week-long campaign like 25 years ago or something in Underdark, and then I made the really nasty drow that have lived for longest underground. I made them pale. They were white pale because they didn't. And my rationale was that the dark drow did it so they could hunt above ground at night effectively, so to speak. That's why they were dark skinned. And then the ones that lived permanently underground, they basically lost their pigment. They didn't need it anymore. So they were pale because, and they lost their normal vision. They basically just had dark vision. That was it. So this is 3.5 era, early 3.5 or third edition. So then we so I ran them as only dark vision only, and they were pale.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because
Or like albino. Yeah.
the original Dark Elves, they appear in D3, but then they don't. I'm surprised, but they make it into Fiend Folio, right? And they're not. I don't think they're UK based. Am I correct on that?
Well, Fiend Folio was put together, I think, by the UK office, at least originally,
Right.
if I remember correctly.
But there you go. Elf Drow is right there next to
Yeah.
Ian Sieben, you know, in the Fiend Folio. And I always thought it was cool. Some things gosh, don't take me as a reverse sexist, but some things I love about Drow. I love the females are superior to the males.
Yeah.
I just love that.
Yeah. So some races should be different. Drow is yeah.
Females with no armor get 15-inch movement rate, and this is old school. I don't know what happens in third, fourth, fifth edition, but you know, and males maximum rate's 12. I love that. You know.
Yeah.
So UK monsters plus several from Gary Gygax. Okay, Mike.
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of the stuff in there is Gygax.
Yeah.
I love their innate spell
demons
ability.
and whatnot.
I love their innate spell ability, and some of them are pretty good spells, right? So you know, and the females get more than the males. You know, including dispel magic and suggestion, which are pretty nasty. I love their innate. Good.
Sorry, please go on.
Yeah, I love their innate magic resistance, which in a rare PC, they don't get that as a PC,
okay.
but they get the spell ability if they're full blooded. And then you know, I just like the Greyhawk version. I don't want to fight, you know, with Ed Greenwood all day long. That I think that the R.A. Salvatore Drizzt versions went way too far the other direction. But I really think they're cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that these I was thinking that the inspiration for that females are bigger and more powerful males come from the world of spiders, when that's usually the case, that the female spiders are the big nasty ones and the males are the tiny little ones.
How about that?
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that it comes because that's the affinity with spiders and drow, so it kind of makes perfect sense that they're kind of spider inspired, so to speak. So,
aren't afraid of Black Widowers.
Yeah. I also had my gnolls
Doors.
are the same way, because the gnolls are so hyena-like, and in hyenas it's the females that are the biggest and strongest ones over males. So I have the hyenas are the same way. The female gnolls are the biggest, nastiest ones, and then in some other, like hobgoblins, it's actually equal, and in orcs it's very male dominated. So yeah.
Now, I agree, Seeker. I love the differences and that.
Yep.
So when you look through and you go through D1, D2, D3, and everyone knows, if you don't, in G3, that's when you're first introduced to a Calavdra and her two male consorts.
Yeah.
And I just remember that's a cool item, the tentacle
Yeah.
rods, right? And then you find out that there's this weird temple down there in G3, right? This bizarre elder elemental god, and that just that hooked
Is
me
that
in.
is that where the elder elemental god made its appearance,
Yeah,
so to speak?
G3.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's a temple.
That's where
Yep.
it came.
That's
came
exactly
From. Yep.
that's exactly it.
And no explanation of what it is or where or
Just
any of
that
that.
the and if I'm wrong, someone correct me. Just that this Calavdra and her house elf Seers has spurned Loth and is now worshiping this elder elemental god, and so they put it in G3, and like I said, I may have that pick up, but there's a pic of one of the guys with the wall of tentacles, and then there's a tentacle rod, which is a super cool item.
So who knew by taking her out, you're actually helping drow culture?
Yeah, well, there's speculation, and Eric Boyd did a lot of this on the show. He came on saying, well, she's just playing both of them off against each other. That's taking it a long direction, but I get to play on that Saturday night, thanks to Eric's idea. So, but yeah, you're right. So, but here's the weird thing, and I'm not in the least. Carlos says, I'm synopsizing in here. If you kill her in here,
Ow.
it says right in here in D3 in the back where you get to all the noble estates, and here it is. So it's hard to kill her. If you go to page 18, right there, it says it, right? And here's what it says. If a Calavdra was slain during the course of play in Module G3, she will have been cloned by her consort Limey. So in any event, she will be ruler. All right, so the cloning idea is yes, and that's right in D3. So
Yep.
there you go. What's up, Carlos?
And it's
The
interesting
human
that
wizards can do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then Gary played with that same idea in the Gord books when he cloned Il Calavdra in there too.
So she has clones running around all over the place, it sounds
Yep.
like.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
Which is cool.
yeah, but I forgot in the Gord books who cloned her, if it was Grust or if it was yeah.
Interesting.
Because I think she served Grust, if I remember correctly, in the Gord books. That's where she served Grust, and in that as his champion, and then Obmi and Keek was the Iusian champions, and yeah.
So Obni's in there too. So Obni goes.
Obmi and Keek, yeah.
So they're both in there, and they're both in the Eyes of Evil reference for the Shadow Claw or whatever, Bone Shadow, whichever.
Bone Shadow,
Bone Shadow. So they're in there, and then what? I know Casey has Obni running around in his Ghost of Saltmarsh too, which is kind of cool. So she created Leda to fool Gord, but then Leda lost her memory. Interesting.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah. So that's cool. So there's a lot of different theories out there, and I don't want to get too deep into the Calavdra theory
we should. Yeah,
thing
exactly.
because
we should.
we all have our own different way. I will say one time, and then I'll close it out. She was critically hit and killed in my game with Alan's character Sam, his halfling, throwing a dart and critically hitting her and instantly killing her in the chest. So on a critical hit. So hey, however it takes. Yeah, but so fun times there. But there's other things besides Dark Elves.
Yes,
in
there
the
is.
Underdark.
Yeah.
We talked about our favorite monsters a little bit on Sunday, but
Yeah.
there's other creatures that are really vile, and some are good. You know, I really like deep gnomes.
Oh, the Swiftniblins. Yeah.
That's a good question. All right, yes. So before, let's answer Big Mac's question and put that up, Anna, because you are the geography person. What creates
Okay.
all the tunnels and voids in the Underdark?
Well, if you look at how caves in the real world are created, a lot of them are created. There's like seems to be two main reasons, and Maldin has he will chastise me afterwards for being not precise geological. But there are at least two main forces that create caves naturally. One of them is water. A lot of the water is gushed through various crevices and stuff underground, and there's also a special type like limestone that actually dissolves
with
underwater.
water,
So water create huge, when you have lots of limestones and other like soft types of rocks that are dissolved by water, or sometimes like acidic water.
Is something like the Sunless Sea then realistic?
Yes.
There's
aquifers.
Exactly. There are some huge complexes underground in the real world, especially in limestone and cool. Similar types of rocks that water have kind of opened up huge caverns under you. It can be miles, they can be tens or even hundreds of miles long. We don't know how big the biggest ones are because we haven't discovered all of them, so to speak. That's one reason, for natural reasons, to create caves that could very well and should exist in a fantasy world too. And sometimes these, due to, if they're old, then the land can rise up or the water can sink away, and then you can have enormous complexes that are not water filled, and then they can be water filled again or partially water filled. That's one reason. Another main creator of huge caves is volcanoes, because lava flows and lava creates its own structure, so to speak. So when it cools from the outside, meaning it creates a roof and it's warm inside, and the lava keeps flowing inside the hardened lava, so to speak. But inside there is long tubes or like tunnels that lava flows in, and then if it's cut off quickly and it's actually a slope, then the lava will actually flow away, and you can have huge tunnels that can be enormously long. And we found them on other planets. They're even on the moon, they're on Mars, and they're on several places in the world. I've been in Hawaii and in Italy or in Sicily. I've been walking in lava tunnels, and some of them are huge. They can be 50 yards across or even 100 yards across. Some of them are so big that you could they're like an airplane hangar inside. So you can basically build whole settlements in them. So some of the biggest ones are like that. There are more than 100 meters or like 100 yards across and up to the ceiling. And they can be enormous, and they can go on for many miles. So those are two natural forces that we find in the real world that could be perfect for creating Underdark environments in games, so to speak.
I was thinking that, I could be wrong, that Gary Gygax was thinking the movie Journey to the Center of the Earth when he was thinking of Dark Elves.
I'm sure, yeah.
You know, that's what I think. And he's like, you know what? There's got to be a lot of baddies down here.
Yeah, and then we have the biggest question when you talk about the Underdark is, and geography, so to speak, or Underdark geography, is do we assume that the Earth is a planet that has the same planet physiology as Earth or normal planets, meaning it has a molten core and a mantle and so on and so forth, and then just a thin crust at the other edge that are maybe a few tens of kilometers deep. But in a fantasy world, you don't have to have that. If you instead of atoms and all the building blocks of the real world, if the world actually consists of the four elements and some magic other stuff that connects it together, you can play with the idea and say that the planet is actually made up of mostly earth, the material earth, with some water and some air and some fire and stuff. So volcanoes are actually openings into the plane of fire, and the planet is mainly, and then you can mix it up, and meaning you can have underground oceans where there are gateways into the planet of water, plane of water, and so on and so forth. And then all of a sudden you can have hollow planets, you can have like the hollow Earth, and you can have all sorts of interesting things because you changed how physics work in your fantasy world.
Wasn't that a campaign setting that was on in Dragon Hollow World?
Yeah,
I remember
exactly. That was
yeah.
one. Yeah, and they had a planet
Oh.
that was not based on normal physics that
Right.
we have in the real world, but based on the four elements physics, so to speak, of old medieval ideas, of ancient ideas of how the world works. And it's very interesting to play with it because that's how magic works in a lot of sense in the fantasy world. So you can kind of draw on that and make the whole planet hollow, full of earth and some water and some fire and stuff here and there, and air bubbles and all that, and that could create an enormously interesting environment, so to speak. And you can make the inner core is, and there you also have, if you really spin on this, you have the outer planes, meaning they're out there somewhere, but the elemental planes are called the inner planes. And that might be for a reason, meaning they're actually, those planes are actually inside the planet, and they are part of Earth, the planet itself, so to speak. So the planet is actually just one big gateway into the various material elemental planes. So there's various ways you can take this if you want to. So you can kind of play with those ideas if you in your campaign.
So that was a good question, Mac.
Yeah.
Good question, David.
Yeah.
So
and we have one more. We have a fantasy one that I mentioned on Sunday. We have monsters that dig out tunnels, like the Umber Hulk is the perfect example. So that monsters that through magic and sheer supernatural abilities can basically chew through rock at high speed and create extensive tunnels and stuff. And in a way, you can have you can introduce earth elementals and other weird, interesting things that live in the Underdark that actually creates the Underdark and chew through things looking for food and all sorts of stuff. And that's something I want to dig into later in the show. But yeah. So that's another reason another phenomena that can create. You can have the natural ecology can create create the environment itself.
Kai brings up a funny point, though. If you get a certain paranoid group, every time they come to a cave, it goes down in the ground. They think it goes to the Underdark. That's funny because, absolutely. Does the Tarrasque exist on Earth? Are there canon sightings on it? I've never had a canon sighting of the Tarrasque in my game, ever. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Me neither,
so there
but
you go.
There are several. There is even one. Isn't that one of the Castle Greyhawk where there's like one environment, but there's a whole room full of Tarrasques or something ridiculous? I think there's one module that has a room or level full of Tarrasques or something that is completely obscene.
Really?
Yeah. There's.
So I gotta tell you a story. Casey's like, because sorry, Casey. Casey's the ultimate him and Tim get in a room and they analyze everything. So Casey's like, who's going on this adventure? Because he wants to know how to prep everything. I'm like, I'm not telling you. I said, prep on your own and deal with it. You know what? A couple characters. So, hey, what's up? Oh, there's a year for Josh. Oh my God, it's been that long. I am so mean. So, you want to see mean, everyone? I'm going to show you mean. This is, of course, we're going off on a tangent here, but that's okay. I didn't make Garn ugly enough, okay? And he said, you didn't make him ugly enough, so I'm going to share the pick. But he does have an awesome, there. I didn't make him ugly enough. Look, he's even got the Kellan symbols on his armor. The 9 sword. Yep. So there you go. There's Garn for awesome. His full plate, yes.
And he has red eyes like that?
Yes, he does. Red eyes and green skin.
Wow.
Half orc, yep. There you go. I know, very nice but too pretty. Looks like an emo teenager. That's awesome. Oh, that was funny. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. The program's got limitations. Just like every man's got his limitations. So does a program now. Yeah, I prefer to have a Len forehead. Oh my God. I can't. The mini's downstairs. Oh my gosh. I shouldn't have done that. So, all right. sorry about that tangent. So I love deep gnomes, and I actually allow a rare deep gnome player character too. And Tim's got one in the new Narwhal group. He's actually got a deep gnome priest of Ula, which is cool, and they got some great abilities. But it's good to see that in this that Gary was thinking ahead and was thinking there needs to be something that's an antithesis to all the evil down in the Underdark.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not many, right? Besides the deep gnomes,
No, not that
Pecs, the
many.
Pecs, right?
Yeah.
There's Pecs down there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of what else could be classified. Am I missing? What am I missing down there that's of good alignment? Gully. Oh, okay, don't say that. Don't say that, Patrick. That's the wrong world.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We have normal dwarfs. Yeah.
Not in the Underdark. It's Derogar.
Yes.
It's Dero and Derogar. Not that.
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah. If you
no,
go that far
they don't
down
go that
far,
deep.
yeah.
I don't know what a
So-
rock elf is.
No, I was just
Yeah.
gonna say I never heard of rock
Yeah,
elves,
I-
but it's an interesting concept. So,
Yeah, I don't know what the rock elves are. Do
Yeah.
you know, Mike?
No.
Peck or neutral? Oh, okay.
Well, they're
rock
not
sea,
evil then.
rock
Yeah.
seer elves.
Yeah.
Still doesn't help.
Well, rock seer elves appear in an adventure, right?
Okay.
Yeah, Run Night Below, and that's where they are.
Right
Okay.
below.
Yeah,
Okay.
so rock elves use electric guitars. That's funny. So,
Tim's on it.
yes, Night Below. There you go. Because Tim's running it right now, which is good to see, and it's good to see the ever
So
mysterious
those are
Tim.
the non-dark elves.
Okay.
From the dark.
Ah,
There you go.
okay. Yeah, the gray ones. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Lava Children, that's a good one, Michael. I love
Children,
Lava
yeah.
Children. So does Carlos. Little hint. As I will hit something up here real quick. No reason. Just I thought that Gary was looking to balance them out, and he gave them the ability, as long as they had the gems, all the sort of Neblin, except for illusionists. I guess for some reason he didn't want illusionists to have the ability can summon a Zorn or an Earth Elemental. But they have to give them gems afterwards. That's a pretty powerful
Yeah.
ability.
Mm-hmm.
And they got self-casting ability as well. Now, my question is this: is all the self-casting and all the abilities from the radiation in the Underdark, and all the other things that happen, and all the extra vision and all,
I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know.
almost like they have outer planar connections, kind of, because that seems to be most outsiders, or now I'm using a third edition term, outsiders that come natively from other planes. They also have a lot of magic innate abilities, and that seems to come with the creatures living in the Underdark too.
Okay.
But even standard gnomes have some innate spell abilities, don't they? At least depending, I guess, on the edition, but yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting.
I was just curious. I mean, I think that a lot of what he was thinking, and I could be wrong, was that the emanations of all the, is leading to this everything being magical in nature and spell. And I thought that was kind of cool. His thought
Mm-hmm.
on that. Whether the rock filters out certain rays that come down, I don't know.
I can also see that it's kind of an evolutionary thing, meaning in order to survive down there, you need to have abilities that are way beyond the normal human standard in order to survive and thrive, meaning you need magical abilities to detect things or hide or avoid, and it's a really tough environment. So that might, because magic seems to be kind of innate in the world of Greyhawk in a way that it's everywhere. You just have to have the knowledge or the natural talent enough to kind of tap into it.
Yeah.
And a lot of humans don't have that by nature, but a lot of other creatures, they have it by nature. And Underdark might be such a harsh environment that kind of weeds out the ones that don't have that talent. They kind of were weeded out of the gene pool long ago.
Yeah, just an observation as to and
but I like your theory of the environment itself causing it, because it's so different. Yeah.
And
have you read much about the Vault of the of the Drow,
Okay.
the moon that lights the vault.
Yeah.
You know
Oh
what I'm
yeah, yeah. It
referring
looks
to?
like stars, right?
It's a metal, I believe, tumkeoite.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Tom Keo, that's funny.
Yeah, yeah. And the module, I believe, explains that it's decaying into, and the decay is what is putting off the radiation or
That's
whatever. And I
perfectly,
think
yeah.
that's what they make the Dark Elves make their degradable gear out of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's also another difference, meaning in the early editions, you had infravision and ultravision
Yeah.
that is based on real world physics of seeing heat and seeing other radiation in just like you use in various scientific instruments and stuff. But in third edition, they got rid of that kind of real world scientific connection and simply gave creatures dark vision and
Yeah.
in other versions you had even greater dark vision. So you can see at further distance, or you can even see through darkness spells and stuff. So depending on what edition you're playing, that kind of plays out differently.
Yeah, because I love the ultravision because there's infravision and ultravision in the old original player Dungeon Master's
Yeah.
Guide. And ultravision's like everything's like looks like Twilight, right?
Yeah, and
At
it's
that
also
time.
what kind of end of the spectrum you're seeing, so to speak. But I like
It's like the Predator.
yeah, but
Switching in between.
yeah, I like the non-scientific version, meaning you can have like you have in third edition and later editions when you have things like dark vision, blind sight, and all sorts of stuff that is not necessarily scientifically based at all. It's a fantasy solution. You see when there's no daylight, you see things in grayscale, and then you can have different adaptation or how well you can actually see in dark, and then you
Yeah.
can see in real dark, meaning you can see even in a darkness spell if you have greater dark vision.
I know that they try and explain in old school that once you get a certain distance, your eyes actually irradiate itself, like
Well, you can have that's
yeah.
the same thing as in the real world. You can have passive and active sensors, meaning back in the day you had ultra and infravision. You had like you had a heat source, and then you that's like turning a flashlight on, but not in normal visible light frequency. So
Yeah.
the early editions were very based in science and technology. Then later editions kind of screw that
Uh,
over and turn it into weird fantasy
So
that doesn't have any real connections.
Jason brings up a point that I don't know how I forgot. I
Yeah,
really appreciate it. Another thing, all of Drow gear for the most part is magical, and that's hence why they have so great armor classes. But it decays immediately in sunlight.
yeah.
So
Hmm.
magic items they prefer magic items that they capture from like other adventurers and stuff because they don't have to worry about this issue if they're raiding the surface world. But once
Yeah,
again, something underground is giving them magical irradiation. Now, Cohen's mind flares and all those don't have this. So what's
yeah,
the difference?
yeah.
Is it the metal or is it the vault itself? Probably it's the decaying, as Mike brought up, the decaying moon, right? Yeah, yeah. So, very good point there. And
Yeah.
I will share something with you. Puppet, there is a great item in one of the old original net spell books or net magic books that we have called the Ring of the Drow, which I've given out. It counts as a magic item. When it's worn, Drow items do not decay in sunlight. So there you go. So that's an easy way you can give some of your, maybe one out to, once in a blue moon that, hey, capture some Drow items and now you can utilize them. Just don't take the ring off. Right, so there you go. Pawafis dissolve, so it's not the metal. Great point. Pawafi's a great item too. So it is, and I'd be willing to find that. It's in my old documentation. I use it to this day, but I'll snip it out and share that with everyone if you're interested. So the decay bit was Gary's way of keeping all those items. I agree there 100%, Mike. Great point. I agree. That's a
Yeah,
great way. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's one of these systems that is created
Yeah.
basically to give the game balance and
Yeah.
stuff, rather than they're not an
Mhm.
in-game thing. They are a meta gaming feature that to keep the game stable and kind
It's
of
left to us to explain it.
It is,
yeah.
it is,
Yeah,
but it's cool. I mean, it's another cool thing of. Now, I'm assuming that the Forgotten Realms has the same thing with their Dark Elves. I don't
I'm
know.
not sure. I'm
It
not
doesn't
sure, and
matter.
I think in later editions they took that away because then there was nothing
Yeah,
substantially different and better with it. It was just different rather than
yeah.
better. Yeah.
But it's cool to have an occasional drow
Mhm.
item being worn out in the surface, and that's how that
Mhm.
ring
Oh
does it,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's a neat thing.
Mhm.
So you got the Snurf Neblin, and then you got one of the most underused creatures, I think, that is really deadly, and that's mind flayers. Right? I mean, mind
Mhm.
flayers are Underdark as much as they get, and wow, they're devastating.
Mhm.
But you have to know how to use psionics, right? Or they're no good.
That's yeah, and that's the other interesting thing is that psionics was such a big deal in the first edition, and I read today about when Gary Gygax wrote about the upcoming second edition that he was planning or working on,
Yeah,
and psionics was one of these things he wanted to take out of the game because he felt like it was too sci-fi and didn't belong in a fantasy game.
right.
and
I
and then in third edition the mind flayers they have psychic damage and stuff, but they get to your brain, but not in a psionics way. It's
right.
more like yeah.
I use the sonic blast only, and that is
Hmm.
to make you go insane or enraged or whatever,
Oh
which
yeah,
is almost a
exactly. Yeah.
magical ability. But I don't do
Yeah.
sonic combat ever. I just no,
Yeah. Hmm.
no. What about
Yeah.
you, Mike? What do you do with sonics? Like for monsters, like
Oh,
intellect devourers and
you don't need psionics because there's enough spells that
Yeah.
simulate
Hmm.
psionics.
Yep. I totally
ESP,
agree.
levitation, telekinesis. Yeah,
yeah, okay. And Lord Forth brings up a point. I mean, Mind Flayer can suck your brain out in one round.
Exactly, they physically can do that. So yeah, so I also feel like just like said Mike, I don't need the mind flayers don't need psionics.
yeah,
They can be scary enough just using some
yeah.
magic and physical
Now, if they do
abilities.
a mind blast, let's just explain it. It's a damaging attack of some kind.
Yeah,
No different
well
than
they are super good
the
at
other
intimidation and yeah.
supernatural. Yeah.
Yeah, not anymore, Casey. We don't do that after in the one days in the 90s when Marco, all his high school friends, I think I told this story just not that long ago. Four characters all pre-rolled up. Oh yeah, I rolled it. All had psionics, and they all and randomly all rolled cell adjustment. Yeah, and that was it. I was like,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah,
Psionics are out.
I always wondered why go to such lengths to have a game that is stable and leveled and on an equal footing between different characters, classes, and game and balanced, and then throw in psionics that can completely screw everything up, so to speak. So
Yeah,
from the game mechanics reasons alone, psionics didn't belong in the game because it just upset the game balance completely. And to me it's weird that you put in so much emphasis on making everything balanced and then throw in psionics that just throws
all
all
right.
that balance and all that work out the window, so to speak.
So, Goats, I'm going to explain that. So, Sonics, you have these like almost like magical abilities. Well, cell adjustment is
Yeah.
your self healing ability, and they all yeah,
Mhm.
and you have to randomly
Yeah.
roll up what your abilities are and your
Yeah.
attack and defense and all. And they all
Yeah.
had it. Imagine
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's kind of it's yeah, I never liked it. I never
yeah,
used it ever. Yeah.
exactly. Yep. They had two characters. They were right. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's the way it should be, Tim. Is that you don't want to run into them, and that's why I just said Sonics aren't for me. They can be for the
Hmm.
monsters and
Yep.
blast away.
Hmm.
So have you, Mike? Have you ever had characters that you've DM'd or that have had Sonics, or you just said no?
No.
Okay, and you were a big second edition with your Wars era, so okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we played second edition a lot, but
Not to
never were.
deviate, but isn't Sonics a big thing in Dark Sun? Wasn't that a big thing of
I
Dark
think
Sun?
Well,
yeah,
if
I
you're
think it
playing
was.
Dark
Yeah.
Sun,
Hmm.
then go
Okay,
for it.
Yeah.
okay,
But you
yeah.
can have a setting when it's really appropriate and it's based around it. Then I think it really has its place, but not in
All the
normal fantasy.
quasi deities and all the deities in Gygax's stuff have psionics.
Right.
So it used to be in my thinking that you needed psionics to ascend to that level of quasi deity. Otherwise,
That's an interesting.
you're
Yeah.
out.
Hmm. Yeah.
Huh. Sonics is core in Dark Sun. Okay, well, it's a whole different
Yep.
setting, so there you go. So,
Yep.
and that's the way they want it. So be it. You know. So the one, so the Goya, the one thing I did not get was I read those Menzo Baronson book, the Drizzt books, and there's an entire Cyanicist dark elf house, and they eliminate the whole house overnight and all. And I thought that was just that was my brain exploded there just by reading that. So, but that, once again, it's a different world campaign setting. But I was like, too much. I don't want to hear about psionists. So we've had enough of that discussion on psionics for a lifetime. So another monster that are alien and that people love because they're so nasty are aboleths, right?
Yes, yeah. Aboleths are, I think, an interesting creature and perfectly suited for the Underdark. It seems to be one of these monsters that is physiologically suited to live deep down in oceans and lakes and the water and stuff, and also has interesting abilities and is kind of an alien but still kind of fantastic. Yeah, but you can like with mind flayers, you can kind of, and the interesting thing is that they have slightly similar range of abilities. So
I was going to say, aren't they rivals?
Yeah, in a way they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd take them that they are, and aboleths are one of these that are truly alien, so to speak. So I think they're really cool. Yeah.
We'll get to them definitely, Nagoya. So, what are where are aboleths alien from another world, or are they as just ancient race? And Gary, Mac, any of the old, super old school people, what are they? Do we have that?
Yeah, I don't know what they actually come from, so to speak. But
yes,
Worlds of Madness.
Yeah, aliens. They're aliens. Or are they both?
Aliens.
Okay.
Yeah,
they're aliens, but they're I don't know.
I think I ran a campaign a long time ago where they are ancient race that, I guess if you want to call it aliens, but they're a prime material plane race that just conquers prime material worlds, but they take thousands of years to do it. They're real slow at it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever.
And I want to have them. I can see them as kind of planar in a way. They kind of somewhere between the elemental plane of water and some of the lower planes, and there might be an ocean in one of the lower one layer of the abyss, or you can have any of the lower planes can have like a watery part of the world where they can come from, where they've been nurtured in all the negativity and horrors of those planes, and then they realize we want to explore the multiverse and the deep underground and the oceans of Earth could be a perfect habitat for them too. So I want to, I don't want, so I skip the sci-fi-esque ideas and go with the pure fantasy kind of.
I never heard that, Casey. The aboleths supposedly created beholders. That's news to me.
They definitely do tinker around.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
races.
That's kind of cool. And
yeah.
And I would like to have an episode on beholders because one of these I want to know more about.
Oh yeah, I mean that would be cool. We should, but we'd have to get Skip back for his Eye of the Beholder series of adventures, all those. So.
But it's an interesting connection between physically weird, kind of alien-like creatures, and beholders fit the bill. Yeah.
Yeah, a beholder episode would be cool. See, we're getting ideas already there to fill in those open slots.
Yeah.
All right, so aboleths, we agree, are an ancient race. Now, I heard I shouldn't mix real life and game, but I'm going to. I heard there's a theory that octopi are alien race because they don't fit anywhere in the genetic evolutionary scale anywhere. They can't figure them out, and that's the same theory that they came on a comet or something. Yeah.
I think that they are fit in the genetics code, because as far as I know, the science doesn't know any creatures that are not in the same DNA structure.
I thought that they weren't. Okay.
Yeah, I think all the life, as far as I know, at least that's what's been cited on legitimate shows like BBC Nature shows and others that seems to know what they're talking about, seems to say that there is no known life on planet Earth that has a DNA structure. We all seem to hail to a few ancestors back in
Okay.
prehistoric times, so to speak. So there's no alien DNA as far as science know, but on the other hand, we don't know. We haven't found all the life yet, so to speak.
I know I shouldn't have gone there, but
No, but it's interesting because
with Atlas too. Yeah.
because even science recognized that might be life coming from other planets or out there in space. Panspermia is a legitimate scientific theory on where life
Okay.
originated from. So yeah, so the question is definitely valid to ask. But as far as I know, I might be wrong. But as far as I've heard,
Okay.
there is no known life that is not part of the regular DNA structure, so to speak.
Cool.
Yeah.
So Nagoya, there you go. We're going to we'll hit another race here.
Fossils.
What's
Yeah.
that? What was that?
Oh no, I'm just reading something about cephalopods in the fossil record.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but speaking
stuff.
about octopi and octopuses, there is an interesting. We talked about some big monsters before. Let's go into we have the kraken and other big octopi ones,
Oh yeah.
and they are kind of water based, but and that brings up another thing that I think is kind of interesting. How much or would most of the deep underdark be water filled? To me, it seems like it should be, because that's the case on Earth. Most caves and stuff, if you go deep enough, water tend to fill in for two reasons.
Yeah.
Either there's an opening to the ocean and water flows in that way, or most areas of the world actually rains, and rain kind of tends to fill in the caves. So eventually they kind of fill in a lot with water. The exceptions are caves that are located high up in mountains and stuff, because they can drain out the other way. But caves in lowlands tend to be water filled, and if you go really deep, then they become water filled simply for basic physics, that water flows downhill. So yeah.
Well, there's a lot of. If you look right on this map, you have the Great Underground Sea, right?
Yeah. So if you go really deep, then and you kind of
I'm
below
just gonna have
sea
to turn this
level,
map
then
and be smart
yeah,
about this.
yeah, then most of this. So there should be, and then you can kind of tell or kind of think about, are
Yeah, up in
are
the
all
upper
these
right-hand
kind of
corner.
connections, are they connected via underground sea? You might simply say that the center of the planet is a huge water-filled void. That's one way of playing with it. A hollow world could be full of water. It's still hollow, so to speak, but full of water, and that will be a perfect environment for huge things like krakens and enormous sharks like the megalodon, and even bigger ones, and beasts like that down there. And that might be where you end up if you go really deep enough. That might be where you end up, and that might be where aboleths come from and stuff too. So yeah. Yeah, some
Cool.
octopi can breathe air. Yeah.
Interesting. Did
Yeah,
not
but
know
so there are some fish that can too. So there's
that.
there's a lot of hybrid creatures that can go one way or the other. There's called the lungfish that can actually live encased in when lakes and rivers dry out, they can survive in the mud
So
for
can piranha,
months.
right?
Yeah. So there's several fish that can actually breathe air.
You have if you go to in Nagoya, you asked this question. They don't get. I give them plenty, and I of course have really made it really disturbing. But if you go to D1 and 2, Shrine of the Kohtel is an interesting adventure, and it seems to be just thrown right smack dab in the middle of the whole trek into the Underdark, which you could actually bypass if you felt like it, right?
Yeah.
That kind of adventure is like it's there. I may go to it, I may not, right? But
Yeah. But
yeah, go
when
ahead.
it comes, yeah, but I was to say the ecology of the Underdark to me is so interesting. Meaning, and that ties into what do drow and Sverfneblins and Dwerger and other cultures down there, what do they eat, so to speak? And we have all these kind of mushrooms and various fungus of various sorts and stuff that live Underdark. So it's kind of to me, it's so interesting to start building an Underdark ecology, so to speak, from the ground up. Meaning, what grows, what is the basis of the ecology?
Yeah, Rothy are under there too. That's right, Nagoya. That's absolutely true.
Yep.
There's a
and
lot of
then
those.
move up the food chain,
Lizards,
so to
too.
speak. So yeah, so you have the top predators and stuff, and then you have all the stuff in between, so to speak. To me, it's kind of interesting, and then you can add fantastic things like umber hulks and various things to this ecology and see how it fits together. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Gygax was a sadist. You're right, Carlos. He was, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. My guess is that they really didn't think about. He didn't think that far in depth.
No, they
You
wanted to
know.
make fun adventures. That
Yeah.
was kind of, it's me who always overthink everything. So you have to, I'm sorry, but yeah, but you know, you guys, you know me, I'm overthinking almost everything I do way
Physical
too much.
geography.
Yep.
Well, really, is food variety a real problem when you have priests that can create food and water as a regular spell almost every day? I mean, you got to think about it that way too. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
you
And
know.
is there a limit on meaning a society that has enough clerics and are devoted enough, then they can basically sustain themselves
Well,
on it?
and we're not, I don't think we're talking. Once again, dark elves are survival of the fittest too. So
Yeah,
you're talking
yeah.
about only their.
But they all seems to be very slim too, so thin, so they
Yeah.
they
Is
don't have
stone to
much.
flesh edible?
That's the interesting thing. Yeah, is that a nourishment? Can you get that from? Yeah.
I don't
But
know.
I guess then you have to, in order for that spell to work, it has to be fleshed from the beginning, because I think it's only
Oh,
reverse.
You can't just
You have to
turn
have flesh to
stone
stone, and then you, yeah.
That's
you
not
can't-
true. You
Okay.
can't eat it, but all right. So I'm going to give you the one instance that
Yeah.
I know that
Yeah.
if you go to original Hidden Shrine of Tomoacon, there's a mud wall, and the way to get through it is to first cast mud to rock, and then cast stone to flesh, and then cut through it.
Okay.
Yeah, in the
Oh, I
original
thought that-
C1. So
So
yeah,
there we have it. I was wrong, because I've always played it like the stone to flesh is that it needs to bend flesh to stone first, and then you can reverse it using that spell. It doesn't turn any rock
Yeah,
into
that's-
well, that's a
But
tournament.
that is,
thing
oh yeah,
too.
exactly. But that's so cool that you have it that way, because now
Yeah.
there is published sources saying
Just
that you
dig.
can. Yeah.
They didn't have dig. It was a tournament module, and you only had certain spells, man. See,
Yeah.
this is what I get for my photographic memory, and I remember that crap.
Yeah.
That was the big bonus point of all time to get through
Yeah.
in the Hidden Shrine of Tomoacon.
But
Yeah.
but now when we talk about magic and the Underdark, meaning
Mhm.
that's another interesting dimension, meaning in the real world, if you had creatures that wanted to live underground, deep underground, they basically have the option, as long as they're not having modern technology, that they can blast their way through using explosives and stuff. Then you have to use manual labor, or you have to live in the caves that are naturally formed, which is kind of difficult, and they might flood easily and whatnot. But in a fantasy world, you have magic, meaning you can cut your way through using magic, or you can have domesticated umber hulks working for you, or a bunch of other stuff. So that opens up the possibility of constructing huge caverns that we will have real difficulty even with modern technology to do, and you have various cool spells and stuff that you can kind of use, to magic and stuff that you can use.
That's funny. Now they're going off Carlos of
Yeah.
pornographic. Hey, how else am I going to remember what happened in an adventure 41 years ago?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah.
it's funny. So,
It was,
all right.
Yeah.
Enough on the flesh,
Yeah.
stone to fleshes and
Yep.
stuff. Oh my gosh, but that was funny. So,
flesh grottos. Okay.
Oh
now we're
my
getting somewhere.
God.
Yep. See. Yeah.
So Kohtelans don't get enough love. I agree.
Oh yes, they are fun. Yeah.
But here's the funny thing about them: they go insane a lot. I mean, that's the way Gary has them, is that they go crazy, and they have these monitors, which are basically Kohtolan monks, which I love. I love the concept of the monitor. I also love the concept of this sticky shield that they have. I also love the concept of the man catcher that they have.
Yeah.
They got some cool items
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
are, I mean, they're
Something to throw a curveball on players, like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Man catcher.
Yeah. And they're also interesting because they are alien in many ways because they're fish based, but they're
Yes.
still a sociable cultural creature that works in teams and have
Yeah.
and do things and can walk around and have the advantages of a bipedal humanoid kind of creature too. So they're very versatile enemies, so to speak. You can have a lot of fun with.
And I'll discuss this more on Sunday night when we wrap up Underdark Uprising. I talk about a lot more in my campaign, but I have 2 Underdark connections. One is specifically, and one was, remember, there's a connection under Narwhal that's right in Wolfgang Bauer's Kingdom of the Ghouls adventure, and there's we've had Kohtelans come out of that, but I have a special creature that Kohtelans have bred that raid the surface world, so Kohtelans don't, because they don't like the sunlight and all. So, but I will not torture you with that on Legends and Lore. So we'll save that for Sunday. But there are, the Kohtelans are, I guess they're enemies of everything else. I know they don't get along with Mind Flayers, correct? I don't think
That's
so.
what I remember too, that they're kind of competing
Slave.
races to some degree.
Might be enslaved.
Yeah. And
I also see that the Kuatoans are dumber than the Mind Flayers and not that.
Yep.
They're not the sharpest tool in the shed, so to speak. So they kind of have probably an underdog mentality when they get angry and pissy easily. Yeah.
That was it. Mind Flayers did enslave them.
Ah,
yeah, I
okay.
thought it was something like that. But
Yep.
so the Kohtelans are, it's cool to have another bad race besides the Dark Elves, and that whole area.
But what's the ratio of Kuatoa to Mind Flayers, perhaps?
Probably 100 to 1.
That's what I would guess.
Even more.
Oh, do you mean the Mind Flayers are that many?
Yeah.
No, that
Mind
few.
Flayers are not.
Oh, exactly. That's what I thought, that they were few and very powerful. Because if they're really many and had a lot of offspring, then they will be everywhere.
So you gotta have some kind of mind control.
Yeah. And the Kuatoans, they are like fish. They can probably spawn enormous numbers fairly quickly, like fish do. Yeah. Maybe
That's
they grow themselves
Jack
in ponds
Vance.
and stuff. Yeah.
Do you think so, Patrick?
Mm.
I did not think that, but it's possible. Yeah. Plays a role in my deep history of the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Mind Flayers are true aliens to Greyhawk. You think, Derek? I'm not sure. No one ever sees a Mind Flayer kid. Well, that's just because no one. I don't think that's a good point. But there's a lot of monsters you don't see kids of.
Yeah.
There really are when you think about that. It's a good.
You can start thinking, how do they spawn, so to speak? If some of them spawn more like fish or octopi or something like that, then they might have hundreds of thousands of little ones, and they just send them out in the water, and then when they grow up, they come up and they don't take care of their offspring.
Wait a minute. So, Amy, you say Blipdol Pulp is a creation of their own bizarre dreams? Is that the way I get that? Blipdol Pulp's a bizarre deity. I agree. That someone was really high and horny when they did that draw up, right?
Yeah.
That crab head and the human body and all. New WotC book features gnome-sized illithids. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Pubic Dad is onto something. Mind Flayer tadpoles. Yes, that's how I think they don't grow kids like humanoids do or mammals do. They just spawn little tadpoles and that's it. So,
well, we're gonna hear. I think we're gonna hear some have this taken. Carlos is gonna do this in his adventure coming up, right? Carlos, we're gonna get a good feel for during Underdark Uprising 8 a.m. Saturday with this Githyankai connection, which would be awesome. So. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking to press the right button here, and there we go. So, we got a lot of cool things with that. But what other creatures? I'm not gonna just throw at you just that. I mean, you're gonna see. I talked about this Sunday, like cave fishers. I love those. They're pretty cool, and I also love. Oh my gosh, I gotta look right here. Hook horrors too, right? They're pretty neat too.
Yeah, and cave fishers.
Yeah,
thank you.
I had the hook horror action figure back in the day.
Okay.
D&D.
Yeah, my door's open. You can shut it, by the way. You can shut my door. Yes, the elder brain. You're that's the cool box set where they're all rubbing the elder brain. Oh my gosh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great memory. Oh
That's
man.
super.
And Casey has the half dragon
Yeah,
Umber Hulk.
there is no
Yeah.
half dragon anything. Okay, stop.
Well, Morgenstahler, he seems to be interested in his erotic escapades. They encompass a lot of different species, so there's a lot of weird things happening
Yeah,
around him.
Hmm.
Yeah.
there was a hook horror action figure. That's true. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, elder brains are
So
fun.
the hook horrors, what kind of creatures are they? Where they come
Well,
from, so to speak, or do you have some ecology on them? Yeah.
can
I
you
don't
can,
know.
can you wait 3 nights?
Okay. Yeah, we can definitely wait 3 nights. And I was thinking that it might pop up something in some dragon I haven't read yet.
It's
either,
up,
so
Enki.
that's
So hook
yeah.
horrors look like vulture heads with these big hook arms, and they're large and can
Yeah.
slice you up pretty good. But they roam, and I think they make these weird noises through their bodies and all. They're pretty
Uh-huh.
cool. They are, I believe,
Yeah,
Fiend
wizard.
Folio hook horrors.
It
Or are they
sounds like a
original?
fiend
Or are they
folio. I think they
original? They may, wait a minute. Oh my gosh! There goes my memory is shooting. Yep. Fiend Folio. The hook
okay. Yeah.
horror.
Mm-hmm.
Whoops.
Yep.
There it is.
Yep.
That's it.
Now, are they animalistic or do they have a little bit of intelligence?
It says large, powerful bipeds have vulture heads and a hard-plated exoskeleton. Their intelligence is low, so that's a hook horror
Uh-huh.
cannot speak but can communicate with others of its kind by making clacking noises with the exoskeleton.
Okay.
An eerie sound which can alarm the unwary as it echoes around dungeon corridors. I think that's cool. Yep, clicking. Yep, clacking, clicking. Yeah. Was it okay? So, I'm sorry. Drizzt in the Underdark series makes friends with a peck that has been polymorphed into and it's going insane into a hook horror, and it's called Clacker, right? Am I correct on remembering that? Yeah. But I think Clacker buys it fairly early on in that storyline. So, yep. Thank you. Yeah, I thought so. Peck. Yeah. Pech, not Peck.
Well, I thought they would be pitch, but
Yeah.
peck is
They're I
peck.
thought they're pronounced Peck, Pech.
Okay, yeah. Now when I hear it, it makes
But it's
perfect sense.
Pack
Yeah.
is from the willow peck. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and pecks are another Underdark
Yeah.
mining species.
Is there a undercommon language?
Yes.
I think there is. Yes, if I remember, yeah, it's
Great.
mentioned among languages. Yeah.
Great discussion point. Undercommon in the silent tongue, right? That Dark Elves have, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's like a thief's cant, like a sign language. I think
it's body, all body.
Yeah, body and sign. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They were in White Dwarf 12, Seeker. Wow, that's how early they were. Thank you.
Okay.
For hook horrors, that is cool. Yeah. There's also, and here's the thing: Dark Elves speak Elvish, right? But I guess they speak Elvish and
I
speak
think
Gnomish
they speak
too.
but they have a written language that's based on Draconic, if I remember correctly, or something like that. So they use a different written language, but I might be wrong about that. Might be my memory that is way too long since I. Yeah.
It's a great point to bring up. Is that I like the Undercommon as like the trade language of the Underdark. It's a great point.
Because there's a lot of cultures.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And also, since the environment is so harsh and you can't really, meaning if you live in a place and people, another culture that lives down that tunnel, you have to deal with them one way or the other, because you can't really circumvent them. On the land, you can take to the ocean and go somewhere else and trade. But in the Underdark, you basically have to socialize with the neighbors you have. There's often no option.
Yeah, that's true. So, going off on monsters, like real monsters, and Tribulator brought up ropers down there. That's a great one. And of course, you got purple worms everywhere, and you got a lot of other of the digging. There's always Umberhulks and Zorn seem to be on the random encounter table everywhere down there.
Yeah.
As Carlos brought up, I want to point out, give him credit for this. That in this adventure module, there's a wandering monster encounter for a level 20 lich.
But level 20 lich can go anywhere they want.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
just funny though.
Yeah.
It's
But
just wandering
one of
around
the
down there.
one of the things that I'm thinking about the physical environment with all these little tunnels and stuff like that. To
Yes,
me, there
Grimlocks
seems
are
to
there.
be a logical type of monster should be things like ants and stuff, meaning small creatures that are lots that live in huge numbers and so on. Because to me, it will be the obvious type of creature. If you want to dominate that type of environment, you need to be small, flexible, and be able to squeeze through a lot of little things, and also not be either you be solitary and sit and lurk and kill things that move past, or you are highly sociable, or cooperative small creature like ants and similar things. So I or termite like creatures and stuff. So I would like to see more type of creatures like that will be that could kind of swarm the underdark by in sheer numbers and work collectively that way. To me, it seems like the perfect environment for some super termite or large ants or something similar. It doesn't need to be insectoid, really. It could be all sorts of based on all sorts of biology, but something swarmy, small swarmy creatures that can live collectively, so to speak, and work
Got
collectively.
some monsters from the ethereal plane that come in and
That's the yeah,
swarm
because
in.
they also have it. They also the ethereal has one of these like phase spiders and others. They can actually move
Phase
through
spiders.
normal matter, so that gives them
Yeah.
another huge bonus. That so they should
Kingdom of
another
the
natural fit
Gods.
for the Underdark are things that can literally move through physical matter. So
Right,
yeah,
because you can't teleport, but if you're
yeah.
moving through it
Mhm.
physically, it's yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Of course.
another type of creatures that could be very kind of natural there are shadow-based creatures, because because you have very little daylight. There's what little light is there cause a lot of shadows and stuff. So I think shadow creatures could probably feel at home, really feel at home there, because there is no bright daylight. What there's always shadows to have. So yeah. Oh yes, that's those books, the Wilderness Survival Guide, and those are fantastic. Yeah,
Love that book.
yep. Mm-hmm.
What's Earthblood, Josh? I know what Red Steel is because I got that supplement.
Red
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Steel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So Pete Helmet goes to Summers
yeah.
PC was in phase spiders are really nasty because isn't their poison like super deadly too?
Oh yeah, face
So
spiders. I
yeah,
used that in a couple of encounters. I've used them twice, I think,
yeah.
in my and they because the only way to get to them is to ready an attack and wait, and when they come, then you hit them, so to speak. Because
Well,
you can't. They phase in and out in their same round, so to speak. So
there's more. There are spells that will attack creatures. I mean, in future editions that I've kind of incorporated back into 1E2, they will attack ethereal based creatures.
oh
So
yeah,
there is
but.
stuff that will
Mhm.
touch
But
them.
they
Red
can kind
Steel's
of come
Mystara.
from they can come into existence and attack and then move out again in the same round. So you might have to ready an attack, and then when they come, you attack them when they come. So it's a lot of monsters like that. But that's one niche type of monster that I think could make a lot of sense living in the Underdark, because they can be very they can have the upper hand thanks to things like that.
Yeah, Josh, there's Earthblood in if I recall Expedition of Ruins at Greyhawk. It's in there too. So there goes Tim with his. There goes Tim with his play on words like his mediocre jellies. So
Oh yeah, but
yeah,
that's there you have one other type of creature that is perfectly suited for Underdark and should be part of the ecosystem. The oozes
yeah.
and puddings
Oh
and
yeah, definitely.
slimes and stuff. They are kind of, that's where I see them coming from. So there is like, and so all the Jubilix, all his menagerie of children creatures, so to speak.
Ugh,
That, yeah,
pretty gross.
Makes
yeah.
sense.
Mhm.
All right. So aside from a Calavdra and Drizzt, please, do you have any specific named characters in Greyhawk from the Underdark?
Nope. I don't think so.
Really?
No, I don't think so. Not that I've used in my game. I've only had one real Underdark campaign. That's it.
Well, I mean that they may be on the surface world now too.
Oh,
Mm.
okay.
Just a question.
Well, you have the Lady of Fungi, Sukmoy.
Well, there you go.
I see her as an Underdark thing, even if she moved on to other planes. But it's just like Jubilex is another demon. It's Suktmoy and
Helene Mystica.
Jubilex. Yeah, those two I see as lords over whole domains of the ecosystem in the Underdark. Kind of look up to Zuktmoy and Jubilex as their lord and master, so to speak.
I'd say by now Elaine Mystica has spent more time on the surface than Underdark.
Elaine Mystica?
Yeah. Well, you also have the Dark Elf.
She's
in
a
the
Laurara.
the
we have
main
Loth
librarian in the College of Magic is
That's true, yeah.
Dark Elf, right?
Ah, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, Laurara
Yeah,
tribe.
that's
There
true.
you go. Yep.
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yep.
this is true.
Yeah.
Jawal
Transports.
Severnane, right?
Yeah, yeah, and then you have the other ones that gone the other way around, surface creatures that have been trapped down there, like the Lerara, Sul, and others. Yeah.
So, there's also one of the original slavers, which we will talk about next week, was a Dark Elf
Yeah.
as well. And they seem to. What's that?
Oh, I was about to go off a different direction.
Go for it.
Yeah, please.
Is the former homes and lairs of the humanoids of the Pomarge in the Lortmill Mountains, is that Underdark? The Lortmill Mountains where the Hateful Wars was prosecuted.
Is there an
Is that
Underdark connection? Yeah.
I
Well,
would say so,
my
yes.
answer is yes, but it's a little further south. Yeah, yes, in the Draken's Grabs to the Lort Mills, there is an Underdark connection. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yes.
And that's the interesting thing, because the Underdark,
Long road runs through
yeah,
the mountain
meaning
range.
if you have a mountain range, like big mountain range, especially like the Yatils or the Crystal Mist, meaning they are so vast and so high up that you can have hundreds of square miles of Underdark that is actually way higher than sea level. So you can have an entry and then walk up into the Underdark, so to speak. And there you can have a lot of caves that are probably not that much water in them, but you have other things like lava and stuff like that in there instead. And then
There
you
you
can
go.
have like the Underdark's deep sea and stuff that doesn't need to be necessarily that deep, but it's basically sea level. But if you walk in the mountain and you have to walk down 5 miles to get down to the to sea level or a little bit below, and you have the openings to so you can play a lot of tricks that way by having the entry placed fairly high up. If you go in through a volcano, you might have many miles down before you even several miles down before you even get to
Aquatic Drow.
ground level. So
And
that is
I meant humanoids were drove overland into the
Yeah.
Pomarge. They were beat out like ants, kicking
Yeah.
an anthill.
Yeah.
Right.
But then we have even if you go to the last book about the return to Castle of Greyhawk that Eric Mona and stuff we talked to him about, and one of the things that is my kind of that I don't like in reading through that adventure was that there was actually a tunnel from Land of Ayus to Greyhawk, which is like over 300
Sheesh.
miles, and it's across the near div.
Yeah.
And that means that thing needs to go way deep in order to and to me that doesn't really
I think
make
that's a little
sense.
revision.
I thought that
Yeah.
it didn't come from the lands of Ayus. It came
okay.
from northeast, and it came from 10 or somewhere where the army was.
That's even
worse.
further away.
Is it?
Now we're talking
Wherever it
700
was,
miles away. But meaning
My recollection
Yeah.
on the original source of that, which is Greyhawk Ruins, is the Underdark connection goes to Blackthorn, I think it is, which is in the Gnarly
Blackthorn.
Forest.
It's just in the
that
gnarly.
makes more sense
Okay.
because that's just like
Yeah.
30, 40, 50 miles away. So that makes it more plausible. But to build an Underdark tunnel that you can walk through under the Lake of Unknown Depths, that to me is like that. At least it proves to me that there is that Earth is not a normal planet with a thin crust and then a mantle and stuff like that, because then that wouldn't work.
That's very
Yeah.
Dragon Age. If you know, there's roads everywhere underground in the
Yeah.
Dragon Age setting, which is pretty cool.
But you can kind of have that. If you want to, you can kind of crisscross the Underdark with all sorts of interesting things. It's just you need to kind of make up your mind in your version of Greyhawk how you want the planet to work. If you want how you want to use, is Underdark something that is basically pervasive everywhere, or is it just something that is under certain mountains and special places? Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
So we missed a big a dark elf personality.
Okay.
It's in an adventure. Is it an adventure or is it a campaign setting or is it what is it? And that is Tislan Sand, right?
Oh, okay.
Vale
You
the
mean
Mage.
the Vale?
Valley the
Yeah,
Mage.
Vale of the Mage. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
One that is very elusive because you basically only know that he is a dark elf and he lives there, and then there's not much described of him.
It's a she.
And
She's she.
oh, sorry, she.
It's a
Yeah.
she.
And then the other interesting thing is about the Vale. Then if you go into the Gord books, all of a sudden it's a cat lord and some other weird things that happens there. So it's
really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff that is the demiurge and yeah, it's very different all of a sudden. So yeah.
Just whose Underdark is going to be more scary? Jay Carlos is, yeah, it probably mine's going to be fun. Okay, because it's just going to be a fun time. You'll see, I always do fun free for all type things.
Yep.
I got 9 players in this game. Okay, so I got to move things along. So everyone's got like 5 seconds to make a decision what they're doing, or else I move on. So
never play an Underdark campaign with me. They are scary, long, and tedious and horrible, scientific, too deep thinking and all. Yeah, so don't play Underdark campaigns with me.
Only it's all fun and games till Timmy. Well, you know, I don't. If you're up at 4 o'clock in the morning for Tim's, I'll be kudos to all of you for that on Saturday. So
for that
whew,
one.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Tim's got new magic crits and fumbles and all. I just you guys are all you're going to be for spells. Yes, you're going to be all tortured by Tim's torturous ways.
And
it has to be. It'll be under. Yeah, they're all the streams are going to be fun. They are. So.
Extort wonders about the tongues if there are any.
Yeah. Well, you know, are there going to be any tongues? I don't think you're going to see any mongrels of the putrid tongue in Underdark Uprising. That's a surface group. So.
Okay. Yep.
9 players, which means 9 PCs. 9, because all my guys for the first time are going to be there at the table. And I got Anna and you and Stella and Eric Mona playing.
9. That's quite
9.
a team. Damn,
I will kill you all off easily.
Uh-oh.
So, no, I'm just kidding. Yes, there are 9 characters. That's why you don't have to prep. So, yep. We're going to have a nice big group. It'll be fun. And I'm going to tell my guys, you better, someone take haste for Garn. That won't happen. So, because no one's going to haste you. Because trust me, it won't matter. It won't matter what you get buffed with in this one. So, all right, some other Underdark tidbits. Mike, Anna, what do you want to discuss here?
I was thinking it's time for me to look a little bit at the map, because we have these kind of other places that are not seen as the Underdark, but I want to kind of at least say they have extensive dungeons and stuff. And one obvious one is the White Plume Mountain, that I think that should almost place it, at least when it comes to that you can reasonably have extensive Underdark naturally forming, so to speak, meaning it's a huge volcano and you can have these lava tubes and stuff going on for miles around. So if you want to use and you also have the Rift Canyon next door, so that's an area I think that is right for Underdark development in the Greyhawk setting. I think that's something that to me is kind of an obvious to tie in Underdark themed stuff.
All right, so canon Underdark connections. We know of the Vault of the Drow. We know of the Kingdom of the Ghouls adventure from Wolfgang and Narwhal.
Yeah.
What is
And
official? Any
and
other?
Sea of Dust is semi-official because
Okay.
Gary wrote about it, but it was after
Castle
he left
Greyhawk
TSR.
is semi-official now because
Yeah.
of okay.
Yeah.
What other ones do we have? Looks like Islands of Management team.
What about
Okay,
Zoic Canthen and those adventures? Do they have deep connections that
No,
will
that I'm aware
qualify
of.
to be no? So then we have
No.
Night Below is the other one
Yeah.
that is kind of Underdark.
Is there an Underdark connection in Iron Gate?
I've heard rumors about that because when
Gary?
we talked about Iron Gate, there was some rumors about there being an Underdark connection to Iron Gate.
Is
Which
there an
is, to
Underdark
me,
connection in Iron Gate?
Yeah, to me, maybe it's a planar one.
Oh,
because
good. Sorry, Anna. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's a little bit weird because the Iron Gate is situated in a
There you
place
go.
where
He
there's
says yes.
oceans next door on basically
Thank
both
you.
sides
Yeah.
of that little peninsula. So they if they go deep, it will be kind of weird why they aren't water
Yeah.
filled.
Gary says
so to speak.
definitely big time Iron
Okay.
Gate, dark Underdark connection.
Okay.
Good,
Yep.
good.
Yep.
So there's portals there, and there's Underdark connections in Iron Gate. Everything you want.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's the other thing is that Underdark
That's
seems to have a
important.
lot of connections to things like the. Oops, sorry.
That's a donut chain from a hockey player.
Okay.
That was funny. Oh, that was funny. I'm sorry, Rich. That was good. I'm sorry, Anna. Go ahead. You
No,
made me
I
laugh.
was thinking that there are the Underdark seem to be ripe with all these kind of connections to other planes, like the lower planes, like Abyss and Hell and stuff, but also to the plane of Shadow, to Earthroll and elemental plane of Earth and stuff. So the very environment seemed to be well suited for a lot of kind of easy to make connections to other worlds and planes of existence and stuff. So that makes the Underdark ripe with all sorts of interesting connections that are not the everyday normal world or
Right.
out on the plains and the normal farming fields and stuff are not that full of interesting connections. But the Underdark seem to grow everywhere. Yeah.
Mike, what do you think? What other points would you like to make about the Underdark?
Other points about the Underdark?
Yeah.
Real quick, to mention that Fred Wining did an article in Dragon 298
Okay.
that updated the Vault of the Drow to 3rd edition.
Okay.
And there's a lot of really new info in there concerning the religions and whatnot. So if you've never read that, I would grab a copy.
Also, didn't Greyhawk Rodner do an Oral High Sinlu update for 5th edition?
I believe so.
Joseph Block, didn't he do? I think he did
Yeah.
as well. I think he did an update for Oral High Sinlu, if I recall correctly. I could be wrong, but I think he did.
He's good at deep diving them old modules
Yeah.
and updating stuff.
Iron Gate has the Blood Iron. There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't reach it now, but I think that was like a dungeon handbook in 4th edition that I think was some of the worst products Wizards of the Coast ever created, because it was just a illustration and hardly no text in it. And I was deeply disappointed because I thought it was going to be an update to the Dungeoneer's survival handbook from 1st edition, but it was.
No, we did,
just,
Carlos. Not yet. Yeah,
yeah,
right.
I forgot if it was late 3rd edition or 4th edition, but it was a book that I was deeply disappointed with.
So yeah, Toadsar brings up a point too, that you always get that. Where does that collapsed tunnel lead? Does it lead to the Underdark? And you get to that.
Yep.
Well, how many of them do? And you can. It just depends on your campaign if you want to go there. Because the place that like we're going on Saturday in my game, there's always been this Underdark connection going back to the, I guess I'm going to say mid to late 80s, and you can't really close an Underdark connection, right? How do you do that?
Well, you can put a big rock on top of it.
Yeah, but that's
Use an earthquake spell might do the
well,
trick.
how many 18th level clerks are running around?
Well, yeah, that's the
Yes,
thing. But
so
if you have high powered magic, I think you can stop it. You
yeah,
can kind of close it. Yeah, a
yeah.
lava
So
river. Yeah,
that just tends to be the problem. Once you have
yeah,
an Underdark connection, it's usually there permanently. So,
yeah.
because
Meteor swarm or something like that might do the trick too.
it's hard
Yeah,
to permanently cut that off.
yeah,
Fill it with the bodies of Kenders. Oh my God,
298.
Kenders and Gully doors, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So, couple things. We talked about this with Ed Greenwood. It says Forgotten Realms on it, but there's a ton, and he said it was all like neutrally setting based.
Mm-hmm.
There's a ton
I,
of great stuff in
I
here
love those. Yeah, those
that
supplements are fantastic. Yeah.
has a lot of Greyhawk in here. The
Mhm.
it has the Oral High Sinlu symbols for all of the houses in here. It has
Yeah.
spells,
Yeah.
deities, items. So you just got to filter out what's Greyhawk and what's Forgotten Realms, which is pretty easy to do. So note that I always love this. Because Yockalol. There you
Yeah.
go. Another
Mhm.
great
Yeah.
handmaidens of Loth, and they're in both. But there's a lot of great. Yeah, here's Rothazer in here, monsters. All
And
the Loth monsters like the Pedipalp and things like that. So have you
yeah.
compared that to the 3E version, Mac? No, because I don't. No. I just so thank you to Canadian and all of the other great people, but Canadian here. So here's some of the giveaways for Underdark Uprising. Their books, Fane of the Drow, the third edition Drow, the Underdark, which Max is talking about. I haven't cracked it. The second edition, and then you have the Expedition to Deemwed Pits. All items that you can get complimentary depending on your order of donation, and from high to low, and there'll be a lot of great things to be given away at that. But with me, I don't look at third edition. I've pilfered a couple things, but as far as content goes, Expedition to Ruins of Greyhawk's about it, and the Greyhawk content that I really used. Right, there was third. So, but that's all right. Yeah, there's some great stuff. Great stuff. And I think the threshold's going to be like 25 or up. It may be a little higher than that, depending on how many donators we get, but I think it'll be somewhere around then. Has a chapter on Aurel High Sinlu. Is that Greyhawk? Aurel High Sinlu's Greyhawk, absolutely. Aurel High Sinlu's in Vel of the
Oh
Drow.
yeah,
That's the Drow City,
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Aurel High Sinlu is all the names of all of Gary's part, like Sin Lu, L-U, Lu's Luke, right? Aurel High Sinlu, that's what it is. Yep.
And there's another interesting connection. I talked about all the various planar connections and stuff that seems to be pervasive in the Underdark. There's another one that is interesting. When you see the domains of undead, they seem to be down under, so to speak. When you talk about the ghoul kingdom and stuff, you don't talk about some mountain or some hill or some forest or something. You often think about the Underdark. And there's another campaign kind of connection. If you want to have physics working that way, you can say that negative energy that kind of fuels the undead comes from the underground. And so but on the other hand, if you have that connection, then the culture should not bury their dead. So then they should be smart enough to figure that out, to not bury their deads. But also that connection might be new, so there might be old graves that spawn undeads, and then they figured out they don't bury their deads anymore that way. So but you can play with that, saying that so creatures that live underground might turn undead over time or something. So because you might, so I don't know, but there's a lot of inspiration that way in many adventures.
Awesome, man. Found a copy of the Arduin Grimoire. Very, very cool. Think about this. So, Wolfgang has redone his Kingdom of the Ghouls for 5th edition, right?
Yep.
Someone's getting a $25 gift certificate to Cold War Press tonight. there you go.
Oh, okay. Have you got more from Wolfgang about that?
No, this is different. This is from we're doing Choller Games. This is a different giveaway. This is from Cannonball
Okay.
Eridar. I got a whole
Yeah,
bunch of gift
because I
certificates.
have forgot
Yeah.
to remind him again because we
Yeah.
have, So we
Undead are
have we
closer to
got
the surface than the Underdark creatures. Absolutely, yes, yeah, because they have to get them from the surface, buried and stuff. So yeah, we're like I said, we're giving away 2 to $25 gift certificates at the end of the evening, which is really awesome.
cool.
Imagine one of Jay's grave lords in the Underdark. See, when you think on grandiose scale, and Michael attests to this with all his wars, you do grandiose damage.
Yeah.
To whatever you're doing, it is in grandiose scale, and it's hard to undo it. So once you go there, you realize there's going to be repercussions in your campaign.
Yeah.
So, hey, what's up, Kayla?
Yeah.
Yep. So good,
That's
Anna.
something I need to keep in mind. Yeah, I'm trying I have too many grandiose ambitions in my campaign to screw things up. So
yeah. That's what happens.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you have to just take that into account, that like wars are bad for the campaign. Well, they could be good depending on where you want to go.
Yeah, but
you know, a
you
nice
at
cleansing.
least you have to, if you set something in motion, you have to at least plan for eventual outcomes, so to speak, so you can live with the outcome. If you want to get rid of a god or a nation or some other significant part of the campaign, you have to at least be ready to face the consequences.
Yeah, so Ben Metal asks, what do you think of 3.5? Well, Anna plays Pathfinder and Pathfinder 2, so Anna likes 3.5.
I lived it. Yeah, 3.5 for me was the edition when D&D came of age to me. So that really felt like, yes, now the game is the way I wanted it. So
yeah, I played all the 3.5 Pathfinder. I played it all with epic level, and then I got out of my system. Then I needed to start over with a different edition. Because I just got burned out.
Yeah. For me, PF2 is my start over to simplify things, so to speak. So,
Griffin's Nest and the Albaral's connection to the Underdark. Well, that's good to know too, Rich.
Yeah. But with today's modern digital tools, that makes gaming a lot easier to keep track of lots of things that way. That was almost impossible before. So that opens up. Yeah, you can have more complex rules if computers can keep track of things. That way you can keep them in mind. But that adds another level of complexity. You have to tweak with the tools and get to use them. So yeah.
So as we wrap up a little bit here, we still got a little bit of time. I'm really excited, and we went over, all the DMs went over their games for the weekend, for Friday and Saturday. Remember, we start Friday. Wily Hobbit starts Friday at 8 a.m. And it should be a blast. And like I said, if there's any amount you can give, please do. It all goes right into Tiltify, and the link's there, and also it's below. Just click on the Underdark Uprising link, and this is on all streams. All the things it compiles, so don't worry about whatever stream you do it on. It's all compiled in there, and it'll all go to the totals. And watch the Sunday Night Gabbin' if you want to see what items are. Some really great things. The sponsors have really stepped up, and a lot of you have really stepped up too. So it's been awesome. Yeah, Dark Druids is Kunz's, right? Yeah. He just put that out. I believe Paul Stormberg bought all of Kunz's rights. Is that what happened? Puppet, I believe and now he's republishing a lot of it. So, which is kind of cool. So, look at that. Oh, there we go. So, Amy, throw up my little jack of all trades funny thing there. So, thanks, Amy. Thank you very much. It's funny, it didn't switch to total. That's weird. I don't know how this Tiltify thing works. maybe it's on a delay. So, but bizarre. I'll have to check that out. Thank you. I really appreciate that. So, summarizing tonight, there's always a lot of ways to go with the Underdark. It doesn't have to be just dark elves. It can be all different direction, all different monsters. We even talk about deities from the area. You got all sorts of really bizarre monsters and all different neat things you can do. So Mike, give us a summary of what you think about, like, just talking about the Underdark. Go for
My
it.
summary.
Yeah,
of
like,
the Underdark.
hey, do
Gary asked what Underdark things I've created.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
could probably get
What's up,
onto
Johnny?
my Greyhawk blog, which
There it
I've
goes.
done.
It's just on a delay.
I think I'm getting close to 1,000 posts.
Nice.
Don't know if I've done anything explicitly Underdark on there. I may have, like, subliminally maybe done some Underdark stuff, but it's not something that I strive for a lot. I know I've probably used Underdark in my games, but I've never ran a campaign in them. So yeah, that's tricky. I've probably, in my comics, I had a segment where I had the cultists of Thurisdan running around in the vault of the Drow. I think
Wow.
that's the most I've ever done with the Underdark right there, is in my comic.
Oh, okay. Well, that's still funny.
Unless you count things like Geralt Inkdall from Five Shall Be One. If that's considered an Underdark Orc City, I don't know, or if that's still surface. So the definition's a little hazy on. So my Underdark usage, or like Greyhawk Ruins. How deep does Zygig's dungeons go? Is his dungeons get to a point where it's considered Underdark? I don't know.
Thank you all for the generosity. Thank you, Crazy Cyber. So, Mike, I would say this, that when you do without, you should make sure your 1,000 is momentous.
Yeah.
What are you at? You better check.
You have to go and count.
You better check.
Milestones.
Yeah.
Well, no, because I would love to do a Legends and Lore with Mike Greyhawkery posts the first
exactly.
1,000. I'm serious.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So really, you should find out, because we got an opening in 2 weeks. I mean, if it's we need, right.
I'm on.
I'm at 999.
No, I can check it right now. I'm on 987.
Okay, so a couple of months. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't worry.
It's soon though. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. The Friday, there's a giveaway on every stream, Johnny. How many, Mike? Do you know yet?
987.
Okay, we got 13 to go. So when you get to like 995 or whatever, you got to let us know. Definitely. There's a giveaway on every stream. Okay, and we discussed this on Sunday, but let me just real quick, while you have that question, it's in our head here. And this is irrespective of donations, and that is all the Crusader journals from Trollord Games in one PDF, and that includes articles from Gary Gygax. So every stream will be giving this away to one viewer. Okay, 9 streams worth of that. So that's a freebie giveaway for Friday. All the gifts I got from all the are complimentary gifts, kind of like what PBS does for donators. And I'm going to go from the high donator to pick all the way down to the low until we're out of them. So last year it was around $20 to $25. I think it'll be, because we have so many more this year, it'll be around the same 25. It may be a little higher. We'll see. We'll see where it falls. So hopefully that explained it. Yes. So you're at 987.
Apparently, I've mentioned Underdark 125 times.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. See,
this is great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
and real quick, I gotta throw this link up here because I'm glad he made that post. Because
that's so good, Johnny. Man, thank you for doing
this article right here. Where
Terrors and Doom Grinders. Okay. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so Doom Grinder, I guess, has a connection to Underdark.
You have the Frost Dark, Night Dark, Wild Dark, Hell Dark, Lost Dark, Sun
There you
Dark,
go. That's awesome.
Witch Dark.
Yeah, that's from Cannon Fire.
Oh, cool.
Someone was.
And look, Jason's the first commenter on there.
Someone was trying to tie all the Underdark regions together.
Yeah. So
I'm glad I found that.
Does everyone out there in the viewing audience agree we need a 1,000th blog Legends and Lore?
Yes.
everyone agree. Anne and I agree. So that
Yep.
that we trump you all.
I
But
put my vote in
yes.
there. Yep.
So there you
Oh,
go.
well, yeah, you can do that for a topic. That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. Definitely absolutely a done deal. Good. 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 We want to time it because we got Gary on
I
March
do
10th. How many do a
about
week normally? 2.
2 a week.
All right. So that gives us 7 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll project out and then we'll get together with a date.
Yeah.
Cool. Beautiful. So
Awesome.
what do you think, Anna, on Underdark?
First of all, I want to say that I've had a lot of fun in this episode, and I hope that everyone who views this get some inspiration from all the wild ideas and stuff that we have come up with here and talked and stuff. Because the Underdark, I think, it's such an essential part of fantasy that it's kind of it's the apart from the the dragons and the magic and stuff, fantasy that it's one of these standard basic fantasy tropes that I think every DM should definitely look into. And I've not used Underdark anywhere near as much as I should, and one of the reasons for that is has been that it's damn hard to map it properly, the normal tools and stuff. So that's something I've now been thinking about. And now when I'm moving into truly 3D mapping, that opens up interesting possibilities for mapping the Underdark, and especially tools like Blender and game engines. Game engines especially have very interesting features that you can use for Underdark mapping on a large scale, and that's something I'm starting to. So I'm researching ideas, concepts on how to actually map the Underdark, because a top-down flat view on a piece of paper or a JPEG or something doesn't do it justice. The Underdark needs to be mapped in 3D, because the vertical is so as important as the horizontal when it comes to the Underdark. So that's why I've held off and haven't ventured that much. But it needs to change, so to speak. So yeah.
That's a 2022 project. I don't think that.
Oh yeah,
you
yeah.
want to start
It's something that is in under concept ideas for mine. Because first I start thinking about how to do it, and then when I have ideas that I want to try out, then I sit and try and figure out what kind of tools, what kind of concept, what could a map look like, and stuff like that. That's the second stage, from just finding the idea to try to find how to go about actually doing it, so to speak. And that's the stage I'm at when it comes to the Underdark mapping. And then in a couple of years, I will probably have the skills and the practical knowledge of actually attacking it, so to speak. Another obvious one is to map other planes. I have ideas for how to map the nine hells, for instance, is one of these kind of things that when I read Ed
cool.
Greenwood's awesome articles on the geography and features and politics of hell, that was like, ooh, I want to map that. So the Underdark is one of these things. So yeah, they're high on my list to conquer. So
Awesome.
Yep.
It's I've always loved it. I just thought it was an absolute home run when I first saw Drow, and there's just one line in the monster manual. Oh, they're only rumored to be legend, and then as a kid I find out, oh my gosh, there's the giant series. They go into the Dark Elves are behind it all, and then there's a whole city, and this city connects supposedly to Loth's lair, to the abyss and all. We won't go there, but it does. That adventure is what it is. But I just thought it was just wonderful. They're a wonderful nemesis because of their resistances and because of their they're the perfect antithesis to a good party. And once again, let's put this out there for all of you that need to know not everything's good, not everything's evil. There are dark elves in the Order of Ulick. That's all you need to know. Okay? So there. So not everyone's bad, not everyone's good. We do not stereotype it, but most Drow worship Loth or whoever, elder elemental god or whatever deity, and they're usually bad deities. So there you go.
Yeah, and Canadian Ancient Gamer asked me if I'm looked at city and sewage and mapping. Like, yes, that's one of my big inspirations. And other thing is what how they map mines and stuff like that is another interesting thing that do it. But a lot of these maps are so almost so modern in their I want to have more of a fantasy touch to it, but it's hard. When you do using modern tools, you have to kind of think and hide the modern features somehow, or make them fantastical in a way. So it's kind of it's hard. But yeah, but those are excellent inspiration for how to go out mapping, because that's the Underdark of the real
Thanks,
world,
Mike.
so to speak. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'm getting abused. There are no good. Hey, Morph, that's fine if you don't like good drow. I mean, but once again, you're going to meet a half Sylvan elf, half drow on Saturday night. So full-blooded elf, but half and half Sylvan. Surface raised on the surface. So there you go. But good points, Anna, with everything. All right. Look at that. 10 o'clock. Let's do some shout outs here.
I'm going to give a link here to
so free.
Let's see.
So let's look at that. You got a gift sub there from Canadian there, Mac, and thank you very much for that. So every time you some interesting ideas, definitely. Drow is word.
Johnny's
Do you have
still
to
on
talk about our Underdarks? Yeah, we talked about Joe Wallace every night. He is not evil. There's all and neither is Tislan Sand. So, yep.
But they seem to be drows in exile, so to speak. They seem to
possibly
go away from
okay.
their cultures, and like Drist and others.
So are most PC dark elves in the campaign.
Yeah.
And there's not very many of them.
On the other hand, so are surface elves that are evil, like Keek and others. They go into
Marquesa.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God!
They go into exile too. So yep.
You want to talk about evil? She's more evil than any other elf I know of, dark elf included. So. Yep. And here I'll do a quickie shout out here for Carlos, and that if you want 3 adventures after the Slavers series, which is we'll go over the topics for next week, and we'll include this. Maybe we'll have Carlos, if you're available, if you're still on next Wednesday for this discussion.
Yeah.
So yes, Marquez is dead. I don't know about that. So
sure. Yeah.
Mike, what's going on, man?
Oh, if you go to Greyhawk, my latest offerings have been a lengthy article on everything you ever wanted to know about the Eye of Vecna. Yes. Just the eye. Everything. Oh. And then what I just linked today is a new sentient magic sword from my own 2E campaign that I've converted to 5th edition. Have fun with that one. It's an homage to the sword from Hawk the Slayer.
Yes, and the Heart Sword.
And it's kind of like a mashup. It's also like the sword from Thundercats and a bunch of other stuff.
Thunder, the Sun Sword from Thunder the Barbarian?
No, not Thunder. The Sword of Omens.
Okay. I wonder why. Snarf Quest.
So go check that out.
Cool.
It's a Sewell sword. Rich might take some interest in that.
There you go, Rich. Sewell. It's a mind sword. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very, very cool. And we will work on that 1000th Greyhawk definitely when it's coming up. That'll be really fantastic.
Yep, definitely.
Great idea. I thought it was called the mind. The
mind sword.
It's a mind sword. Yeah, I call it the heart sword because I don't know what I was thinking. I'm thinking the heart bow from the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, right? That was called the heart bow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the Thundercats they could be. Who knows? So well, that's cool, Mike. Anna, what's going on?
Wow.
The heart bow's from the Archer. What is the frickin' bow from the Dungeons and Dragons movie called? Oh my God!
I don't know. I forgot.
Oh yeah, the heart bow's from the Archer. Yeah, see, I'm the. Go ahead, Anna. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's. Well, so yeah, so I'm working on a commission for Gryffindor Games for a future Kickstarter of theirs. So, but on the Greyhawk front, there is I posted a couple because the work on the new generation of Greyhawk maps is moving forward really well, and there's been a couple of very technical. I must say that very technical. They don't talk about Greyhawk at all. They really it's just technical post showing how I'm going about creating the new generation of Greyhawk maps. So if you want to look, see under the shell, so to speak, you can go to my Patreon and see the I can link it straight in here, and they are not hidden behind the wall, so you don't have to pay anything. They're available for everybody.
Very cool.
That kind of shows what. So so I've done the actual terrain building, and the second I'm looking into how the fractals and stuff like that works. And then there's one how to split it up, because it's like an elephant, you can't eat everything in one bite, so you have to split it up. So that's one post on how to go about making one piece of the puzzle fit to the next one, so to speak. That's the post. And today I posted one how to get the rivers and lakes to actually be there, because the tools aren't good enough out of the box to make rivers and lakes that detailed. When you have a resolution of 5 feet per pixel, they're not good enough for that. So then you have to have some TLC and some Photoshop work and stuff in order to make the rivers and lake be detailed enough. And next will be to go into the world of texturing to make it color enough, so to speak, to have it, give it all the right colors, and decide what is swamp, what is grass, where is bushes, where do trees grow, and stuff like that. That is the next step after this. So that's one part of it. But also my campaign, we had a session this Sunday, and Jay, I can report there's still 0 level. We have done like 6 sessions, there's still 0 level. We
Six
haven't gotten out
sessions
of
and
the
still 0.
yeah, we haven't got out of the village yet. We're still in the same village. We haven't gotten anywhere. And yeah, so you see, I drive my players mad. Yeah, in other ways. So yeah, so I've only had one player quit yet. So yeah, I had 8 to start with. We're like 7 players now. So yeah, so far they're yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, when do the Google Drives drive over? Yeah, eventually there might be
Just drop
things
the pencil.
like Street View and stuff like that of cities. And I'm also I'm working with Linda Booth. She is researching and doing the same thing I'm doing, but from the other perspective, from the close-up perspective, so to speak. So she works on settlement mapping and 3D modeling and stuff like that. And we have a collaboration, so we can kind of connect our 2 visions, me from the large scale and Linda from the small scale, and then meet and connect one to the other. So
What she
that's
does
part.
is amazing.
Yeah, she
She's
does
showing me that stuff.
yeah, she has some awesome stuff. So we are good friends. So we babble and connect our projects, so we are aware of, she's researching it and figure out how to map cities and settlements and buildings and stuff like that in the small scale, and I'm doing the opposite, world mapping from the large scale, so to speak. And then we see, so we can actually connect the data, so you can have a city map that matches the terrain and vice versa, so to speak. So that's part of it. And also one big aspect to this that I will talk way more about on during Greyhawk or GaryCon, when we have a 2-hour seminar to dig into the technical details, and also a lot of how to figure out what the planet and the world actually looks like in detail, because there's a lot of weird thing or things you have to start thinking about when you map in detail, meaning why is a port city located in that spot and not at the other spot, so to speak. And things like that might tell you what the terrain looks like. So there's a lot of surveying, meaning if you're going to map the real world, you go out and using geosurvey tools and satellite images and stuff like that. But when you survey in fantasy worlds, you have to go about different techniques into it. So that's one. And I'm planning to write more about how to do fantasy cartography surveying, so to speak, to make sense, so to speak. So that's one. But my own campaign is making good progress, except for the poor characters. But we're making good progress starting to use fantasy grounds and move into that realm. So that's a lot of fun. And I'm also coming up with new interesting future campaign concepts. One of them is I think I'm yeah, because I always want to tweak things and I want to start thinking how the world works and stuff. And one of the things that have kind of nagged me for quite some time is that you have the standard, one of the standard fantasy things is that demons and other, whether various lords and gods and demons and whatnot, they tempt mere mortals into become sinful or become evil or kind of go the become corrupt, so to speak. But I was thinking, what if it could work the other way around? What if you have a god whose whole kind of clientele of worshippers and priests and stuff did kind of becomes evil and go haywire and simply say they go nuts and become cultists and go nuts and become evil? Would the god punish his worshippers and lose standing, or would the god be tempted to keep the worshippers and embrace it and go evil, or will he try to replace it, or how would that work, so to speak? And I tend to have a campaign where I test that, and my perfect candidate is Foltus. Foltus was this originally good god of the Great Kingdom, Meridian god of low order, light, resolution, and inflexibility, and sun and moons. And then he has the Palite and the Dimri congregations who started their own societies in Pale and Dimri, and then emphasized the law and order and the inflexibility and intolerance and stuff. And from, if you read Carl Sargent's descriptions in the Marklands and stuff, you get the sense that that is a very evil society. So I realized that that means that his clergy and the worshippers don't seem very good inclined to me at all. So I was thinking like, okay, let's go with this story and say that now the most of his clergy and the worshippers have gone evil, meaning they are now hateful and inflexible and law and order, meaning they want to burn the good ones and they want to burn the heretics and stuff like that. That's not good to me at all. And then that means that then we have to see what happens if Foltus is tempted to keep his worshippers and his clergy and go with them and abandon good, and instead giving the clerics the harm font, or now I'm talking PF2, but instead of giving healing spell, giving them harm spells, and instead of the good domain, the clerics will now get the evil domain instead, and eventually they will probably lose the sun, and then he will have to fight, because Pelor is the good sun god, and Pelor will probably not accept Foltus kind of fall from the bandwagon that much and start become evil and embrace all the things that Pelor seems to dislike. And then he will be moving. And then, since inflexibility means that I see a time connection, meaning he wants to keep things the way they are, nothing should change, and that means that will there be a fight with Istus over time and things happening that way? You can have interesting connections. And what happens to all these poor worshippers and people coming in the way, and clerics who are good and don't want to have with it? Do they flee? Do they start to take up an alternate version of it? Can you worship a god from that angle who have gone evil, and so on and so forth? That's a lot of questions. I want to see if I can have some sort of interesting, fun campaign and try to figure that out, so to speak. And I simply want to turn things the upside down. What happens when the people tempt and corrupt the god, not the other way around? Yeah. So that's an idea for a future campaign, so to speak, that I want to thinking about. So,
I've been on that border a long time with the lawful neutral aspect of Foltus and the Shieldlands. You know, it's right there. I mean, you can say that they've done evil stuff.
Yeah,
so.
So I thought it was like a gradual, and now I realized, what the heck? Now they gone bonkers and gone evil and become cultists. What happened to the gods, so to speak?
It's a really cool idea.
Yep.
Well, so I've been using Portrait Workshop a lot. So if you want to see what a half Sylvan, half Dark Elf character looks like, here's Sierra Miramaris. You will meet her on Saturday night.
Oh,
This
cool.
is Stella Luna's character,
Yep.
and Stella Luna's character, Sierra, is known Imri her whole life, and his character, and they're both from the Axewood. She was raised in the surface world. And that'll be the connection to start us off on the finale for the fundraiser Saturday night. Mike is shaking his head. Were you shaking your head because of Gary, or are you shaking your head?
No. I'm thinking there's a lot of stuff in the chat.
Oh, okay. So, yes, I have been tabletop. I really like it because we have 2,000 characters, PCs and NPCs combined. That if I spent $20 a portrait for an artist, that's costing me $40,000, right?
Yeah.
So
I like it too.
Yeah, Anna's got it too. It works for me.
To create NPC portraits and PC portraits and stuff like that, it's actually excellent.
It's limited. It's got its limitations, but they're adding stuff.
Yeah, but the humans, the half-elves, the elves, and the dwarfs and halflings look good. It's the half-orcs I don't like that much.
I don't have any capability to draw.
But and the variations are basically endless. So you can create all the normal kind of standard NPCs and stuff, all the barkeeps and the city guards and the locals around.
If you want to see what Eric Mona's character, Venerian Vord, he's even got a symbol of Ralashaz on the front of his cloak. There you go. Remember, they wear a lot of multicolours. So there you go. Look, he's got the Ralashaz bones and everything. There you go. See, I got characters set for everyone, ready to go. And tie that in with their miniatures. It's a hybrid of what's on their sheet and what the miniature looks like. And I did my best with all of them. So, yes. So, I'm excited about that. So, here's the deal. Yeah, see, I can't draw, Mike. I have no artistic capability. That side of my brain is shut off. I wish I could, but
I'm not anywhere near good
I can't draw.
Portraits
I have no capability.
Those are all cartoony, by the way.
Yeah, Johnny, I use it, and they're happy that I'm using it, and it's going well, and but it's okay. It's a good thing. I wish I had the artistic capability. I don't. So
Forge, it's also a good tool for that.
No, yes, but Mystery, I don't want to talk about what Hero Forge is. I'm not use. No Hero Forge minis on my stream ever again. I won't go into it here. But they have specific things that they do. If they catch you, just let's not even talk about that tonight. But you can't use Hero Forge on stream. There you go. So tomorrow night we continue, and it's going to be all remote. So I'm going to be the only one sitting around. Everyone's going to be via a Zoom because we're going to have the snowstorm. So no one's coming to my house in the snowstorm. We're going to get 6 to 9 inches. We continue. I hit the wrong button. That's for Sunday. So that's all right. We continue with Castles and Crusades. Great adventure. Verdant Rage. We gave a bunch of these out. And everyone saw the wonderful, if you didn't see the pictures all over Discord, not Discord, but some on Discord, but mostly on Facebook and Instagram, Bill, we have a wonderful, fantastic shrine. Let me throw that up real quick here. It is really unbelievable. Here's a good pic of it up close. There you go. That is a 3D print, that shrine. And that is the Centered Oak Shrine in Verdant Rage. There you go. Really, it's huge, and we're going to be giving away the STL of this again tomorrow night, along with the Abbott's Home we use for them. Both those giveaways are tomorrow night, and it is big. It is as big as it looks, that STL and that print. So we will be utilizing that in the adventure. And have some great giveaways from them tomorrow night. And then Sunday night, is we're going to do a little more Underdark discussion. I'll make it more campaign-based. Plus, we'll do a wrap-up show for the fundraiser. Now, fundraiser. Let's just talk about what's going on. So Friday, we start. Here's the schedule. We start with Wily Hobbits, 8 a.m. Okay? We start Underdark Uprising, all the adventures, 8 a.m. on Friday, and Praetors Rejects at noon. Steven Chenault Troller Games at 4, and John at Blue Box finishing up Friday at 8. I didn't know John was playing in Tim's game. So he's going to be getting done around 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. And then Crazy John is playing in Tim's, which starts at 4 a.m. So I got to be up for that too. And then we'll start day 2. Now, just once again, I said this at the beginning of the show. If you weren't on, we may have an issue with Nightheart Gaming has no power and no heat, no electricity, and in their house. Okay, now in Texas, and they may not be back up and running in time. I may have to stretch my game a little bit. I'm going to ask Will to stretch his a little bit, and we may still have a gap of an hour or two in there somewhere. Please note, we'll do our best. But if it's out of their control at this point. They have, their house is freezing. They're all, it's a bad situation. We'll figure out something at that. But note that day 2 is going to be awesome. And I got Anna, Stella Luna, Casey will be in with Garn and Eric, the Eric Mona playing in this game along with my group. And this is the first time all 5 of them have played, so it's a large group, but we'll get it to work. And let's hope. Yes, best wishes to everyone in Texas. Anyone heard from Duff? I haven't seen Duff on or he's streaming. I wonder if Duff has power too. I got to see if I can get in touch with Jimmy Duffy. He may be out as well. We'll figure something out if we have to. We really will. But note that it's going to be a wonderful. We're already up to $665. Year 1 we only raised $1,020, so we're like over 2/3 of the way to our first year ever that we did it. The target goal is $5,000, but let's see where we get. I know we still have tomorrow night. You talked to well, Armin, I'm going to try and reach out to him when I get off here and on Discord, see what's going on. So that wasn't a hell no, John. Let's see if I have to do something like that. We maybe consider it. Okay. All right. Maybe. Well, I'm hoping that things are okay. Mike Celestian said his power just came back on. So let's find out. I'll try and find out from him. But I know Nightheart's in a bad situation now, and we'll see. All right, let's do the giveaways. How's that sound? Mm-hmm. Everyone signed in? Remember, you got to be on. First pick, you get your choice. Troller Games or Cobalt Press $25 gift certificate. Now, remember, that Cobalt Press, I don't know if it'll spend it all toward, but you can get the Kingdom of the Ghouls in the new edition, which is real. He calls it something different, right? Something slightly different.
Empire of the Ghouls.
Empire or something like that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Troller Games has got such great stuff. And Jay's making sure. No, I haven't closed it yet, Sorrows. I haven't closed the drawing yet. It's not closed. Still open. Go for it. It's still up. I haven't closed it yet. Please feel free. There you go. Cool. All right. Giveaways. Jay's hitting. All right. Now I'm going to close it. Watch is going to win. Lots of signups tonight. All right. Oh, that's funny. Wait, try. All right, try again. 10 seconds. Try. I'll get Cold and my morph. Try. 10, 9, 8. Put it in if you haven't. 10, 9, 8, 7. I opened it up. 10. Try it one more time. I'm trying to be a good guy. All right. Okay, we got it. I'm going to close it out there. There you go. I'm a softie, aren't I? That's what my players say all the time. Here we go. Winner. Winner, chicken dinner. Here we go. First winner. Big Alf, 4116. Grats, man.
Cool. Yeah.
What do you want, Alf? Your call. I know he's on. Alf, that's only one of the 2.
Congrats.
There he comes. Ooh, yeah.
Which one do you want, Alf? This Kobold. Well, you're going to get that. Yeah, so at least he's the one that's owed the book too, Anna. He's owed the Kobold Press book.
Oh,
right,
okay.
Right, still, yeah, from Wolfgang from
so
those months ago.
That one.
No,
okay.
We got to get on.
Okay, then I have to remind him. Yeah.
All
again.
right, so you'll get that one. All right, you ready? Second winner gets the Troller Games $25 gift certificate. And remember, all right, guys, everyone, please stay on. Let's give Will a big raid tonight. Okay, here we go. Jason, Public Dad, awesome, man.
Great.
There you go. Nice. You haven't won it. Have you ever won anything? Is that your first win in all this time? It may be one of your first wins, man. That is awesome.
Congrats.
Good to see.
Yep.
Good to see. So thank you all. And remember, more STL files tomorrow night. And, I may throw in one thing for a non-STL person as well, like I always do. That was a long time ago. So let's thank you for another great night. And I hope you like the discussion tonight on the Underdark. I know we bounce around like we always do. Oh, duh. Next week. How could I forget next week's Legends and Lore?
Yeah.
Okay. Next week's Legends and Lore. It's called, and thank you, Gary, for the
Underdark.
Yes.
What's Underdark?
Yeah. Under the yellow sails. That's what I put down. And the reason is that Slaver may get nixed by Twitch in the stream. So it is about the Slavers, the history of the Slavers organization. Okay, from the Egg series to the Slavers reference book to all the other fun things, and maybe throw some other pirates and slavers in there from the Sea Princes that Mike has and Hardby and everything. So we will see you for that next Wednesday at 8 o'clock. All right. So Under the Yellow Sails is the title for next week. So here we go. Raid setting up now, and we'll see you all. See you all tomorrow night, 7:30. All right.
Yep.
Is Jay gonna hit the right button?
Let's hope.
Thank you.
I think so.
Over under. All right, now let me set the rate up here. Thank you. Yes, it'll be a fun one next week. Let me set this up. Boom. You're working though, and you're doing a great things, Amy. So that's a good thing. Wow, 69. Oh, one short of 70.
Yeah, but that's
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See you all soon. See you tomorrow night.
Yep.